to duck down. You want to duck, just go over and get onto the bench and stay there.
You play to win the game.
My message for the fans, we're all frustrated with where we are right now.
Jets, Jets.
Yeah, all right. What's happening, everybody? It is a good day to be a Jets fan. Don't let them tell you otherwise. They're trying. You see it? I see it. Do you hear it? I hear it. Don't let them. You know the truth. You know the truth. It is a good day to be a Jets fan. I am happy to be here with you guys. I am GreenBean. This is the Thursday thick of it. We run this show right alongside of the Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, PJ Walker, Carolina Panthers playing the Marcus Mariota, Atlanta Falcons. What a game we have to run catty corner alongside of this week. What a power-packed bunch of football players we have, firing head coaches. It's madness out there. But the New York Jets, as Von Miller said just today, I think it was, or yesterday, the Jets aren't built on sand. The Jets are built on marble. Did you hear that? Did you guys hear Von Miller said the New York Jets are built on marble? I can't wait to see if Frankie heard. I don't think Frankie heard that. So we're gonna bring on our co-host because we have so much to talk about, guys. But he's in a different place. So I want everybody to just brace yourselves, okay? It looks different. Here he comes. Are you ready? Here he comes. Nice and soft. Frankie from Flatbush. What's up, Frankie? How you doing?
It's Thursday night from Yinsburg, Pennsylvania, and I'm ready to gripe intelligently. I've had enough of the unintelligent griping, so now it's time to gripe intelligently.
I love it, Frankie. You know, Frankie, you are in a different place. I love it. As you know, I am in a different place. Different places happen. You know what I mean? And sometimes it can be weird. Sometimes it can be scary, Frankie. But other times it can be inspiring. You know, it's a whole different thing, a whole new fucking fresh set of thoughts, man. So good luck with your new space, buddy.
Well, you inspired me, GreenBean. Look at GreenBean. He's got green lights now twinkling behind his head. He's got all sorts of paraphernalia. He used to just be roaming around the country trying to get a signal. Left, right, and center. He'd be in parking lots. He'd be God knows where. And now He's got his own green space, the green room.
The green room, right, Frankie? Now, if you look to the left of I think it's on your end. It's to your right, to my right. You see that? It's like a little thing. See that?
Yeah.
You guys know it? Do you know what that is, Frankie?
No.
What does it look like to you?
Looks like a Halloween mask of some kind.
Well, I haven't broken it out just yet. I think I showed some people, but maybe tonight. Maybe tonight I'll let everybody know what that freaky thing is back there. You're not far off, Frankie. You're not far, but it's very, very specific. Let's say hello to some people in the chat. Jets Forever is here. He says, haters gonna hate. Jets Babe stopping by. Jets Babe's more of a come in later kind of a viewer, you know? She doesn't, I don't know if I remember you being here this early. This is cool, man. Thanks for popping in. King Blaze, he's calling for 7-3, Frankie. G Money's here. Mr. Guy Ton Jr., Bart Scott for governor. Love that. He Hate Me's here. Stud City's here. Mark Riz is here. Twisted, I want to let you know, Twisted said, GreenBean is always 5 minutes early or 2 minutes late. You can set your watch by it. I saw the comment. It was 8 on the button. I started it specifically because of that comment. Frankie, am I lying?
Nope, that's exactly what GreenBean did. I can verify. You inspired something, Twisted, so you should be proud.
That's it, man. That's it. That's how it goes. Anthony G, Mitt Flair, you guys are the best. GreenBean's burner, who is, I mean, this is, you're real now. I thought it was like going to be like a one-day thing. Nope. GreenBean's burner. You know, there's also a guy out there. He's GreenBean. He stops by from time to time. Hello.
That's when you know you've made it, GreenBean.
I think
when
so.
You have all of these people imitating you.
I think so. I like to think that's the case as well. And it makes me happy. I'm touched. Squirmy Weasel is here. Sully's here. After Pat's right. Cy Thompson, who was first up here? John Hepburn was first with Ant Jets, Jets, mess, and Cy Thompson. So let's do this, man. Let's talk about. So I don't know if you heard about this thing. Von Miller was interviewed, and if you look around the league, guys. Well, first of all, I don't know if you know this, Frankie, but the Jets beat the Buffalo Bills.
They did.
And the Buffalo Bills were 13-point favorites in our house, which really means Vegas has given them 16 points, approximately, right? That's kind of how that goes. So they're saying the Jets are going to get shellacked. The slide has begun, right? We lost to the Patriots the week before. Zach Wilson looked like a crazy person. He ran further backwards than he, So the Jets, who played hard-nosed, bring it to you football, whether it's the defense, the running attack, whatever it might be, and Zach Wilson played well. We beat the Buffalo Bills. Afterward, you thought like, okay, most people are going to say, all right, well, all the crazy wins that the Jets put together this year that we've tried to nullify for one reason or another, they're here. They're a good football team. I was waiting for that stuff. It didn't come. People are now saying Josh Allen's arm probably hurt before the game started. The elbow that Bryce Huff created, that injury that Bryce Huff made, they're saying now it happened all game. They're saying that, Milano wasn't there, and they had some other starters and all this stuff that the Bills just weren't ready to play or whatever it might be. But so Von Miller was interviewed, and what he said was, that's a good football team, man. This isn't the same old Jets over here. He said they're not building this on sand. They're building it on marble. They can do a lot of things. They play hard. He said all this great shit, but that the Jets foundation is in marble. Now, I thought that was a pretty cool comment. Something that you don't usually hear when talking about the Jets. And I have to agree, Frankie. I think with this young Joe Douglas kind of, we had to be patient for the last 3 years. So Joe Douglas could kind of have a moment to get some of these guys in here. But it's the way that we were talking about it should be done. And here we are, Frankie. So what do you think? Do you think, number one, did you hear those comments? What do you think about them? But do you think the Jets are built on marble as opposed to the 2015 sand that we were built on?
Well, it's very interesting that the player who said that is Von Miller. Now, Von Miller's not just anybody, not just some guy. Von Miller, in addition to being a superstar in the league, is also well known to have aspirations to be not a coach, but a general manager.
Ooh.
So this guy is, and lots of people have said, yeah, if that's what Von Miller wants to do, he will be a very good general manager someday. So this is a guy who's a very interesting person to make that kind of a claim. And I think what's meant by it is what we've all seen. I mean, we have young talent. What were people saying in the beginning of the year? Oh, they got a lot of young talent, but is it going to develop? Is it, they're young. They're good, but they're young. They're too young to compete right now, but in the future, they'll be good. That's what they said. But I think we've developed a lot of that talent a lot faster than people thought we would. And now here we are. So I think that's what Von Miller's talking about. There's guys we got coming back next year who can be superstars. Guys nobody's talking about, like Mekhi Becton, has all pro talent. And he may never play again. We don't know. But he could come back. Here's an example of a guy who's just sitting out there who could come back and play at a high level. And then you have people like Breece Hall and AVT and Max Mitchell and all these people. And then the players who are actually playing and the young talent of the guys we have. So I think that's what Von's talking about. And I think it's, normally when players say things, I don't pay that much attention to them for the most part. But Von Miller, I pick up my ears a little bit because Von Miller is thought to be, okay, this guy might be a general manager someday. So he's looking at talent. He's evaluating talent. And he's saying, no, that club over there, they got something. And so I think that's something because it's Von Miller, not just some random guy.
I feel the same way. Now, I didn't even know about his general manager aspirations. I think that's super cool. But I tend to respect him as opposed to just like Robbie Anderson, let's say. You know what I mean? There's a difference. Believe it or not. There's
There
a
is.
difference. And sadly, we won't be watching Robbie Anderson tonight for the Panthers. I think that would be nice. But yeah, I mean, when Von Miller says something like that, I think the players, and when you talk about, you listen to Josh Allen, and he's kind of saying some stuff, they're like, oh, what happened on that pick? It just looked like a terrible pass. He said, hey, man, I didn't see the guy. And that's because John Franklin Myers was literally directly in front of Whitehead. So from Josh Allen's stand, it just was perfect, and it's like they make it sound like, oh, well, look, if he's going to throw that pass. No, this is what happens when the defense is doing certain things and guys are actually reading the play and can get over there. Things like that happen. You watch the play, you saw Jordan Whitehead recognize what was happening, stop, take off. And it just so happened that John Franklin Myers was blocking him, but we got the pick. But it's like everybody's trying to minimize it, demean it. Dude, at this point, being 6-3, when, it started with the Cleveland miracle. Oh, the Jets, a miracle. Remember all the Cleveland fans? To the fucking Jets! Oh, my God! They were losing their minds. And then Pittsburgh, oh, Trubisky, the rookie, and then, on and on and on. Oh, Skylar Thompson and all the stuff that we've endured. And now we beat the darling of the NFL, widely regarded as the favorite to get to and win the Super Bowl. We beat them with our stadium. All the Bills Mafia came down to MetLife to have a party, Frankie. They were like, oh, I mean, that's the game to go to, Frankie.
Yeah.
It's the game we're going to go down there. We're the New York team. They're in New Jersey. Bop-ba-doop-ba-deep. We're going to have a great time. And we beat the living shit out of them. That's what happened. It was a good game. Look, we had some balls bounce our way. They had some balls bounce their way. But when you look at the fourth quarter, Frankie, that's when the men show up. Running game, hard-nosed defense. And this is what happened. I'm just going to say this, and I can't wait to get your thoughts on this fourth quarter. We got the ball on our 4-yard line, okay? And we decided we are going to run the ball down your mother effing throats to go to the other side of the field. Dom C pointed out, we were doing a breakdown. The Jets, the first 3 plays were the exact same play.
Yep.
Mike LaFleur came out and said, they're not going to be able to stop this. And if you can, go ahead, stop it. We'll do something else. We punched them in their jaw for 4 to 7 yards a clip the whole way down the field, ate up over 6 minutes of the clock. They had to use their 3 timeouts, and it was like the most thorough kind of we're out manning you in this fourth quarter that you could possibly muster. I mean, there's no better way on a football field to make that statement. 6.5 minutes. You have to use your timeouts. We ran the ball. We threw it once to get down there, and that was the 3rd and 6 to Denzel Mims. We ran the ball every single play and basically said to them, you're going to go home like this. What'd you think of that, Frankie? Did you feel the same way? Did it elicit some pride? Some, holy shit, we're actually taking the Buffalo Bills and doing this to them. What did you think when you watched that fourth quarter and that drive in particular?
Well, it reminded me of a quote that somebody said. We keep pulling you deeper and deeper and deeper into the water until you realize you can't swim, and then you realize you can't breathe. And that was said by Robert Saleh.
Robert Saleh. Say it again. That's so good.
Yeah.
Guys, everybody listen. Everybody in the chat, take a listen. Robert Saleh said this about when they were talking about us, how we've been kind of successful in the fourth quarter. I think that was what it was in reference to.
Yeah.
Say that again, Frankie.
What we do is we keep dragging you deeper and deeper into the water until you realize you can't swim, and then you realize you can't breathe. And it goes to now, if a coach says that and then you're losing and getting your brains beat in, then they say, ha ha, coach, shut up. But if
you're an idiot. Right.
But if you see what we've been doing in the fourth quarter, I think we still have the best fourth quarter point differential of any team in the league. it's like, okay, that works. And it goes along with the 60% thing from the Navy SEALs. And that's also the same idea where when you think you're done, we know we got 60% left because that's our philosophy. When you
Yeah.
think you're exhausted, you can't do anymore. We know we have 60% left. That's our philosophy. That's what we've been preaching. And again, if it didn't work and we were we were losing and people were beating us up, we'd say, okay, enough with the Navy SEALs, coach. But if it works and it's actually, happening on the field, you go, okay, the players are buying into this. Maybe there's something to it. And that's our philosophy. And yeah, I noticed that. And I was happy about it. I said, this is great. LaFleur, because LaFleur recognized it. Just keep running it. They're not
Right.
stopping it. We got the blocking. We got Denzel Mims on the field as an example, kicking his butt off. In addition to Herbie and Uzama and pulling, I think we were pulling Herbie and Uzama and Lakin. We were pulling, and it was beautiful. The blocking was beautiful. Uzama and Herbie and Lakin and everybody and McGovern even. Everybody
Yeah.
blocking. Denzel blocking down. Denzel blocked a guy 15 yards down the damn field. I love to see it on one of the big Michael Carter runs. And I was glad that LaFleur just stuck to it. This is working. Stick with it, LaFleur. It was fantastic. No reason to deviate. We needed to control the ball. We needed to keep Josh Allen off the field. And it was working. Why not? And he stuck with it. You love to see it.
Yeah. And I think very, very well said. And I love that idea of it being a team that actually comes alive in the fourth quarter. When's the last time that we were that team? I honestly can't even remember. I mean, it's not to say we haven't done it. During the 2010 campaign, there was a couple games where Santonio Holmes kind of, the last minute left, kind of had a big play. Yeah, I mean, it happens. But we've been a team this year that in the fourth quarter, we're like either able to create a monster comeback a la Pittsburgh or Cleveland, or we just shut you down in the fourth quarter. It's like we've been owning and that quarter. And we've said it numerous times. Like if you're going to pick a quarter to own, it's the fourth 100% of the time.
Well, the beat writers, when we looked like we were going to, in the beginning of the season when it wasn't going so well, the beat writers were going to tell us all about how this is a fourth quarter league and you can't blow leads in the fourth quarter and you have to perform in the fourth quarter. Of course, they haven't been talking about that lately, have they? Because now it's not a drama-filled thing. And think about it from a psychological point of view. If we're known as a fourth quarter team, it's kind of like Jaws. Bump, 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 because eventually we're going to get you. So you better have a big lead going into the fourth quarter. These are the fourth quarter people. So if it's tied or it's close, it's like Jaws is going to eventually come up to the surface and grab you,
That's
so
right.
you might as well, so it's like a psychological thing. And how much pressure does that put on teams in the third quarter? If they go, well, we got to get out ahead. They're going to lap us in the fourth quarter. That's their thing. Now they're pressing and they're, maybe make some mistakes. So I think there's a psychological aspect to it as well. So it's all good. Yeah, it is a fourth quarter league. What the beat was saying in the beginning of the year to chastise the Jets is correct, though. It is a fourth quarter league. That's when, and Saleh told us all about this. They asked him about this a lot, and he said, look, the first half, you're figuring things out. You're hiding things. You're disguising things. You're running your plays. You're feeling each other out. The third quarter, it starts to get sorted out. By the fourth quarter, everybody knows what you're doing. There's no surprises. You've run all your plays. You've done all your things. And now it's just mano y mano. And whoever's going to win will win because they're just better. They're just better than you each winning their one-on-ones in every position. So he told us that's the way it is. And now we're seeing the performance of it. And it's really exciting.
Yeah, it really is exciting, man, because guys, look, it's not just winning, right? Like winning the games, no matter how you do it, it gives you the buzz. You're going to feel it. You're going to have a good time, the whole thing. But it's how we're doing it. Like this looks like a team that is just putting it together to create like a dynasty level juggernaut. Like that's what it looks like to me. Like when a guy goes down, the next guy up, like we have layers deep of talent, not at every position, but it's like when you look around, like if a guy goes down, the guy coming in can actually play ball, and it's all over the place. Like, look, we saw when CJ Mosley
Yeah.
CJ Mosley went down.
Good point.
And it looked like he was like, I think he banged on the thing or on the field. Like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
Jamien Sherwood came in. Jamien Sherwood is his backup, who, by the way, has been an absolute just demon on special teams. I don't know if people are aware of that. Jamien Sherwood, I think he's right behind Justin Hardy with impact special teams plays. I could get that for you. Maybe Frankie has it. Maybe Dom C or Wat2K or some of these guys. Jeremy's not going to do it. He's fucking so lazy. So, and he's somebody else can. But Jamien Sherwood came in as CJ Mosley's backup, Frankie. He was in for 4 plays. Now, they ended up scoring on that drive. But the first 3 plays that they were in, it was Jamien Sherwood made the tackles. Like he's
so sure-handed tackler. I mean,
dude,
I noticed him too right away.
Tackler.
He puts his arms around you. You're not going anywhere. There's no leaky yardage with Jamien Sherwood. So on the one hand, it's exciting, and I'm happy he did well in his limited time. But on the other hand, can we get him in the game a little bit? Does he have to play middle linebacker? Can he play a little weak side, strong side? Can he do a little something else? Because he is such a good tackler. It's like
I know, I love that too, and that's the thing. Like, even remember when like, so obviously we have Quincy Williams and then Quan Alexander, and when Quincy went down, they took Marcel Harris. And put him in over Sherwood. So they're looking at Sherwood as like CJ Mosley. In a similar fashion, it reminds me of Mims behind Corey Davis. It's like, well, Corey's playing, so Mims can't. And it's like, well, you don't know how to use these guys together. What the fuck are we talking about here? But it's the same kind of thing. But I was delighted. Like, look, you don't want to lose CJ Mosley. Yeah, he's the captain of the defense. He's the heart and soul and all that kind of stuff. But it's nice to know that the kid who came in, the 3 plays CJ Mosley was out, he made those tackles. Like, he was right to the ball, nose for the ball. And that bodes well for what we're looking at in the future, guys. I mean, this is what we're talking about. And obviously the receivers and the defensive line, we're going to get into all of it. I wanted to, wait a minute. I think, sorry, Ablab. Jet Sonic is first. Thank you, Jet Sonic. I appreciate the super chat. Frankie said in September. Oh, here we go. Okay, I can't wait to find out if this is good or bad. I have no idea. I didn't read it yet. Frankie said in September, we're not beating Buffalo. What shall his penance be?
That's a good question.
Jettison of Georgetown from Brooklyn. So, you know what, Frankie? So you thought, I believe you said we were going to, from your opinion, we were potentially going to sweep with New England and Miami, but we were going to lose to Buffalo. Is that how it went on your end?
I mean, and I think it's logical. There's no really rationally, you couldn't pick the Jets to beat the Bills. Sorry to tell you guys that. Like they by all indications had a much better team than we did. We had a big fat question mark at quarterback. Now Zach Wilson came out and played his best game as a Jet. He really did. And that's impressive, but he hadn't played that game up to that point. So, I mean, they have Josh Allen and they're going to the Super Bowl and they were 13-point favorites. I mean, you had to pick the Bills. I mean, it just, and then you root for us to beat them. But you looking at it reasonably and rationally, you pretty much had to take the Bills. I mean,
well, I didn't. So I'm going to say this. Now I said that, I mean, look, I said a bunch of shit this offseason and this year. I went all over the place. So if I'm going to be real honest, but I did say, I think we can split with the Bills. And if we're going to split, we're going to win at home. That's what I said. So there it is. So I think you should pay some sort of penance, Frank. I think you should eat that jersey behind you over there.
I'll take, you know what? I'll take whatever suggestion Jettisonic has for a penance. I'll consider it.
There you go.
So let me know, Jettisonic.
Now that if that's not a like an amicable, just a wonderful, if I may say so, response. I don't know what is. So there you go, Jettisonic, and thank you. And real quick, Sergio is saying Michael Carter in the second is one of the best slot corners. I agree. There's so much. I mean, Michael Clemens, Michael Carter the second, Michael Carter the first. There's so many exciting guys on this team. And I could talk about them all day. And I'm going to tell you, when Garrett Wilson did the pump fake, thing, which I fully support, right? Fully support it. I think it's great. I loved the play. That was a legitimate. He had that option to throw the ball.
Oh, yeah.
That was the Berrios play that we got a touchdown to Zach earlier in the season.
Basically.
So, yeah, right, essentially. So but I love it. Let me tell you how well that freezes defensive. Whether it's a lineman, linebackers running in, you pump it, they jump, and then you take off. It works. Now, it didn't work so well. It slipped out of his hand, Frankie. What I loved about Garrett Wilson there was that he sacrificed his entire life and career to get that. No way did I just do that. You know what I mean? And so here's the thing. Now, we've seen it before, but it was in this particular instance that my love was affirmed. When his helmet flew off, his hair popped out. I think I am absolutely in love with Garrett Wilson's hair in particular. It just looks like he doesn't give a shit. Like, I don't know. I love that. He's just like poof. And I love it, man. And I love Garrett Wilson more and more every friggin' week, Frankie. It was a big mistake and he got lucky. You know what I mean? That the ball went straight. Football doesn't always go straight. It went straight. But anyway, I love Garrett Wilson. So Ablab checking in. What's up, Ablab? I emailed you back today, so thank you. I'll reach out to you this week, maybe even tomorrow. Okay. So yeah, I don't check the emails every day, but anyway, thank you for sending the email, and I'll reach out. Clemens is destruction waiting to happen. He gives me Deacon Jones vibes. Frankie, Michael Clemens almost blocked that field goal. He was very close again. Now he has a blocked punt already in his rookie season. He's got a couple sacks, I think, 1.5 sacks, I think. Numerous tackles, impact plays, special teams plays, wherever you put him, he just nice and quietly wants to eat your soul. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of how he goes. What'd you think of Michael Clemens? Like, so they're starting to fold these guys in, the Bryce Huffs, the Jermaine Johnsons, the Michael Clemens. What do you think? Like, does Michael Clemens give you that Deacon Jones vibe? Do you think like we're watching the beginning of somebody who's going to expand into a full-time player, or is this kind of what we get from your standpoint? He'll be a good player. He'll be a great role player. We'll love him, but that's kind of it. How do you see Michael Clemens kind of growing up here?
Well, from a scouting perspective, one of the knocks on Michael Clemens, he's an old prospect. So one of the reasons scouts like younger prospects, like there's an offensive lineman, a tackle, who I believe is Fashanu this year, who's like 19 and could be coming into the league.
Yeah.
Somehow. I don't know. I guess he's a red shirt or something. So he's 19 and could be coming into the league. And the idea with these younger prospects is that you can develop them. There's a lot more to grow there. So Clemens comes in, he's a little older. So some scouts say, well, that's a knock on him because how much better is he going to really get? But I don't really buy that, to be honest with you. I think he can get a lot better. You can always get better with your technique. You can get around good coaching and so forth and so on. So he's doing well so far. I mean, for what was he, a 4th round pick? I mean, he's surpassing expectations already. I think he can get better. I mean, Deacon Jones is a Hall of Famer, so maybe pump the brakes on Hall of Fame for the moment. But but if he becomes as a 4th round pick, somebody who's a big contributor on our defense, that's a big plus.
Yeah.
And he's already a big contributor. He helps out on special teams, and he helps with our, what do you want to call it? Our persona, our aura.
Right.
Nobody wants to face that guy in the 4th quarter. Tell you that much.
No. It's the truth. Remember Connor Hughes, when he was talking, when the time he came on my show, he said that when they were scouting, or what, I forget exactly how it broke down, but the coach for Michael Clemens said, like, the other team, like when he just stands on the sideline and like stares at the other team and stuff, and like people are legitimately afraid of him. He's just got that, like, it's real. Like, there are guys that act tough and, like a Jamal Adams, blah, 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 and I'll do this and I'll do that. And then there's Michael Clemens who just stares at you. You know what I mean? And you're like, yeah, okay. I don't feel
That's even
good.
worse. I mean, the quiet guy who just stands there and is like, it might be, it might be your time.
Right.
It might be time for me to start looking into what you've been doing.
Right.
What?
It's
What?
time.
Excuse me?
I know, like he might actually be deaf. It's like it's time. It's time, Frankie. You're like, holy shit, I thought you were a football player. No. You know what's funny, Frankie? When I was like, I don't know, maybe 16, 15, 16, I was in high school. I was getting into some fights, and my father, he had been training me my whole life, right? But like maybe he's 14. He said to me, the scariest guy and the guy that you got to watch out for is not the guy telling you how bad he's going to kick your ass. It's the quiet guy behind him. That's the guy to worry about. It's always, and you're in a bar, it's the quiet guy. Don't worry about the loudmouth. He'll fucking go down like a sack of potatoes. You know what I mean? And that's Michael Clemens, man. That's Michael Clemens. So Ablab, hey, look, dude, look, Michael Clemens now has been compared to Bruce Smith, Deacon Jones. Who was the other one? I think somebody might have said Reggie White. I was like, whoa. Like, yeah, I mean, hey, man, look, he's got that big build, so I do understand it. I get it. And look, he's playing well. Like Frankie said, he was our final pick in the draft. And I was convinced we were going linebacker with that pick. I couldn't imagine. And I forget who it was, but there were still two linebackers that I was like excited about. I was like, holy shit, like they're still here. Michael Clemens. I was like, what? But man, I never heard of him. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't do anything on Michael Clemens.
I knew his name. That was about it.
Yeah. So I'm real happy to have him too, Ablab. I really am. Mr. D checking in. Before I do, I'll remind everybody, number one, we're happy you're here tonight. This is, it's 8:33 on November 10th, a couple days after we beat the shit out of the suspected Super Bowl favorites in our division. This is the Thursday thick of it. I am GreenBean. Right next to me is our good friend Frankie from Flatbush. Behind the scenes is our producer, Jeremy from Jets Chaos. He writes us messages. He tells us what's going on in the chat and all kinds of stuff. And just arriving mere moments ago, he was trying to come in. I don't know. He's in and out. Something's wrong. But he's here now. Y2K, the president of the Virginia Jet Fan Club and the CEO of New York Sports Jets Media, or New York Sports Wicker Media. There it is, Frankie. Holy shit. Y2K is with us as well. Now, guys, as you see, we try to make this a chat-inspired television show. Okay. Now, we'll get to lots and lots of comments. But if you want your comment to be seen for sure, you want it guaranteed. Obviously, the super chat system is here, and we do greatly appreciate when you guys do that. And we're guaranteed to get to every super chat, and we'll get to as many comments as we can in addition to that. So thank you. Mr. D checking in with a super chat. Thank you, Mr. D. Says, look at Jermaine Johnson's sack sauce. Wait. Sack sauce.
There should be a period. No.
Yeah, that's right.
Look at the Jermaine Johnson sack. Period.
Got it. Thank you, Frankie. This is why Frankie's here. Sauce is why he didn't throw the ball. Same play the Bills used at the Rams, but Jalen Ramsey failed. Sauce didn't. Now, Mr. D, that's some pretty good, breaking down there. I wouldn't have known that it's the same. But the thing I do know is you're right. On that sack, the reason that Josh Allen didn't let the ball go is because right in front of him, his man was covered, and it was covered by Sauce Gardner, which is just so fucking fantastic, isn't it, Mr. D? And here's the other thing. I don't know if there's any other player, maybe Bryce Huff, on our defensive line that could have made that play.
Mm-mm.
I mean, maybe Huff, right? I mean, because supposedly, he's like, I don't know if he's the fastest, but he has the fastest get off. You know what I mean? He's got the most explosive first step. But Jermaine John, this is where that youth and athleticism comes in, man. This is where when Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas were raving about, him in particular and trying to trade up for him from the 11th or 14th pick.
Yeah.
All the way to 26. So from the 14th or 15th pick to the 26th pick, and we know this, Joe Douglas called every single team. When they said no, he hung up the phone and thought that team was taking Jermaine Johnson. And this was the guy that they want. We're seeing why. This is his first game back. And he made that play, guys. That play. Look, and then like Mr. D said, on the back end of it is the other guy from the same draft, from the same round, Sauce Gardner. Those two guys together made Josh Allen incapable of making the big play that he normally makes, man. Like, Josh Allen usually escapes. And he at least, if he can't throw it, he's going to run for 15 yards, 10 yards, whatever. He's going to get a first.
Yep.
Not today. What'd you think of that, Frankie? Jermaine Johnson and Sauce Gardner, that play in particular, what were you thinking when you watched that?
Well, it's coverage and pressure working together. That's why you need corners. A lot of people were fond of saying, well, in Saleh's defense, you don't really need cornerbacks, which was about the dumbest thing I'd ever heard. But you need both coverage and pressure. They work together, and it's beautiful. And you saw the speed of Jermaine Johnson. Sometimes you can't tell when they're rushing, how fast they are. But in that situation, you saw him track down Josh Allen, one of the fastest quarterbacks around. Yeah. And now you know why they valued his speed so much. And it was fantastic. There was another play. It was similar to that one where Johnson did kind of the same thing, and Allen had to throw an incompletion. And it's kind of the same deal. He didn't get the sack, but because of his speed, he caused a bad play to happen for the Bills. And that's the value he brings, that and lots of other things too. So now you know why they wanted to get, he was 8th on our board, 8th. And of the first round rookies, do you know if you ranked all the first round rookies, all the rookies that were taken? I did this in a video today, so that's why I know it. Out of their PFF grades, we know PFF is terrible, PFF stinks and all that. We know that. But nonetheless, if you ranked them by their PFF grades, do you know where Jermaine Johnson ranks?
No.
Numero 8. He's the
interesting.
8th best. Yeah. And the other two we got, Sauce is number 1, by the way, and Garrett Wilson's like number 7 or 8. So in the top, no, Garrett Wilson's like 5th or 6th or something like that, or 3rd. He's way up there. So in the top 8, we have our 3 guys that we had in the top 8 that we wanted. So there you go. And that's why they wanted him. They thought this is what they would be getting.
Well, and all right, listen. So, guys, I'm putting a poll in here for you guys because our next super chat brings up a subject, and I'll put it in there for you. The poll is out, but I want to talk about what Frankie just said. How amazing is that their evaluation was he's the 8th best. He's their 8th guy. They get him at 26, so it's a gem, at least from their perspective. But then you look halfway through the season, and he's the 8th guy. Talk about a slam dunk evaluation team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the difference, man. Like when you look at our previous organizations, now we don't have to dig into them because we've done this ad nauseum, but like this is when like fans like us for years have been looking at what our organization is doing, whether it's McCagden, whether it's Idzik, whether even Trader Mike, man, while he did some really fun things, man. And Trader Mike gave us 5 or 6 good years when you connect the Mangini and the Rex years. So I don't want to take anything from him, but he did a lot of crazy shit. And then Terry Bradway before him and Rich Kotite and even Bill Parcells. Like we watched crazy, just nonsensical things happen like for decades. And you look at this organization, Frankie, and it's about time. Like we can see it, whether even Breece Hall, like the poor kid, he was more than likely going to win offensive rookie of the year. If he stayed healthy through the whole year, he was going to win it, And it's like, you look at that, the last team to have both offensive and defensive rookie of the year was the Saints, the year that they took Alvin Kamara and cornerback, Lattimore, right?
Yeah.
That was the last time. And look, Sauce Gardner just won his 3rd rookie of the week. Now, remember a couple weeks ago when Breece said everyone said vote for Sauce because it's harder for a cornerback to win rookie of the. Remember the shit conversations we were having? We voted for Sauce so he could get one. He's got 3. Breece has 2. Garrett Wilson has 2. It's like it's incredible, man, and it's a market difference. And just like Mr. D is saying. Jermaine Johnson and Sauce on one huge play that really epitomizes kind of the whole philosophy of what we're doing and kind of the calling card of the D really right now in the team. So Jets New York 102 checking in real quick, Frankie. He says, GreenBean, you're the man, but those lights, dude. So the poll is out. Now, this is a new pattern. I just decided, let me just try this crazy pattern. I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm not married to it, but I liked it. I was like, oh, that's neat. And I did ask our producer, Jeremy from Jets Chaos. He said, oh, I love it. So I'm going to blame him if you guys don't like it. If you like it, it's me. So that's how that goes. I'm very comfortable doing that as well. So let me know I have numerous patterns. So, you got all kinds of shit, Frankie. What's this? Like watch. You do this, all kinds of stuff, Frankie. What's that?
Man, you're moving up in the world, man.
Yeah, I got all this stuff.
This is amazing. We couldn't even get you a signal before. Now we got
I know, I couldn't even get on. I couldn't even talk to you guys. But I'm going to leave the fireworks. This is fireworks. That's what it's called, fireworks. So let me know in the poll if I should keep this or I should go back to more of a subtle. Let me know. What do you think, Frankie? Do you hate the sparklies? To be honest,
I kind of like the more steady pattern. I could see how people would get. It's a little fast. This fireworks is they're going a little fast. Like they are
fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like a little more steady.
Yeah, and you know what? In fairness, I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at the chat. I'm looking at you. Like I'm all over I don't even see that. You know what I mean? So let me know in the chat. I'll kill it in 5 minutes, and we'll see. We won't make this too long because if you hate it, I don't want to keep it up there all night. I'll get to it at the end of the show. Let's see. Matthew 13400. Matthew, you got to let us know one night. Like, how do you want me to say that? 13400 13400. 13400. What is it? I don't know. 13,400. I don't know. 6-2 the rest of the way. Finished 12-5, and we host the Ravens or Bengals at home for the first home playoff game since 2002. The game will send earthquake shockwaves across East Rutherford with "Let's Go Jets." Well, number one, it would. Let's assume for a second, Frankie, that happened. It would be amazing for the area. Yeah.
I think people would maybe drop dead of a heart attack. 12-5. All these haters. 12 wins. I picked 10. I thought that was, optimistic.
Yeah. Well, at the beginning of the year, I said 7-9 is a success, right?
Yeah.
Now,
we're almost there.
In fairness, while I still, if we won 9 games, I still think it's a successful season, right?
Oh,
but having 6 this early and only getting to 7 or 8, that signifies a complete collapse. Well, you know what I mean? If we only win 1 or 2 games, then something went terribly wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
true.
So Matthew, talking about 6-2 the rest of the way, I pondered recently 14-3, Frankie. Okay, 13-4. I just pondered it. I didn't.
You pondered it, eh?
I wanted to see what it felt like, because let me tell you something. I have not done that in a very long time. Okay.
Can you imagine?
The last time was 2010. I even pondered it.
Why? That would be unbelievable. I will say, we are in the top 10. If you look at Football Outsiders, they say these are the teams, the odds they have of making the Super Bowl. We're 9th.
Interesting.
We have odds.
We do.
We didn't have odds for a long time. We're not on the list.
No. So yeah, it's an interesting thing. So, look, when you talk about, so I pondered this thing. Now, I'm going to tell you guys a short story like I like to do. Right. So I pondered 14-3. So if we just won out, because honestly, man, okay, let's say Josh Allen is hurt and he doesn't come back. Buffalo could literally have a complete meltdown without Josh Allen. He does a lot for that team. Okay?
Are you not a Case Keenum believer? Come on.
You know what's funny, Frankie? I actually am a Case Keenum believer. And I think he'll pull out. If he played the next 6 games, let's say, he'd win a couple. He would. He's a good backup. but he's not Josh Allen, man. And he's definitely going to lose in some areas where Josh Allen would be the X factor. He'd be the, the item putting them over the top. So I think they do have a backup quarterback. There was a time when I said, why don't the Jets just sign Case Keenum? You know what I mean? Like, come on, like the guy can play. Yeah, up in Minnesota, I think he was in Washington too. So anyway,
everywhere.
So when you think like, why not us? Like, why not? Like what? We got the Lions, the Bears, the Jags. We got the Patriots, the Dolphins. The Dolphins have no defense, man. Yes, they just got Bradley Chubb. So what? Block them like we did Von Miller. You know what I mean? Block them like we did all the other great pass rushers that are coming in. So, I mean, we're a scrappy team, and I firmly believe if we stay even this healthy, we can at least play with anyone. That's what I think. Now, the Chiefs are better. I even think the Bills are a better team overall, but it's like we can hang with anybody. So let's say we do. And this happens, Matthew. We have a home playoff game. Matthew, even after a bye week. Imagine like Buffalo collapses and we take the division and we're 12-5, 14-3. We win the division. There's only two teams that get or one team now, right? One or two teams that get the bye. There's not four teams that get the bye, whatever the hell it was. So we get a bye week and then we come into MetLife for a playoff game where we can like hypothetically get revenge on the Ravens or like the Titans or somebody. Do you realize the energy in that? There wouldn't be a Ravens fan. Nobody would sell their tickets. That would be finally like a full house of Jets fans. And I think it'll start to go that way, Frankie. But I'm going to tell you a story. Now, guys, years and years and years ago, I used to work props on TV shows like The Sopranos, Third Watch, Law and Order, SVU. So I used to do stunt driving and I used to do props, right? So I was working, I believe it was Third Watch, which was a really popular show with like Naomi, the hell is her name? Not Naomi Judd. She was in like Friday. What the hell is her name? I want to say Naomi Campbell, but I don't know if that's it. Anyway, we were working under the Williamsburg Bridge. Like, so we were shooting a scene underneath the Williamsburg Bridge, Frankie. All right. We're on the Manhattan side.
Did this really happen, or is this some sort of flashback to your days when you were doing other things?
Yeah. So I'm high as fuck, right? Like, that's how the story starts. So I'm doing a bunch of acid and heroin. When you're on LSD and heroin in the woods. So we're filming underneath with the Williamsburg Bridge on the Manhattan side. And if you've ever been under there, not everybody has, but it's kind of dark and dank, you know what I mean? Like under all the bridges, it's kind of very similar, right? It's like a neighborhood and it just kind of peters off. And then there's like the water and there's like a gate. So we're behind the gate and we're filming. Now the Yankees are playing, I want to say the Red Sox in the playoffs. And it was the game where Knobloch hit a home run like in the ninth inning kind of a thing, right? I forget the exact details, but that's how it happened. Something like that. So when we were all filming, the director decides to use the cameras or the monitors that he's watching the scenes because it's an intense part of the game. So he brings over the crew and he lets us all watch it on the monitors that it's called Tent City. Tent City, I think it's called, where the director kind of hangs out under the fucking tarps and looks at everything, So Knobloch hits the home run. And Frankie, I literally heard New York City, Queens, I heard it roar together in unison, like every window, every person in New York City yelled at the same time. And you could actually feel it, Frankie. It was like the most intense thing I've ever been. I'm getting goosebumps saying it now. I haven't thought of this one in a long, long time. But that's the kind of thing that Matthew's talking about. Like when the Jets actually are the team to do this, and like we're really the team, New York City's not, it's like it's been a sleeping giant. Like you see, every time we do good, they light the damn Empire State Building green, everybody parties, and we're not even the team. You know what I mean? So like when it really happens, I think Matthew's right. I think it's going to send a shockwave through the city, very similar to what happened that night when I was under the bridge and got the distinct and just unique and incredible experience to hear and feel New York cheer at the same time with like just a crazy, like it wasn't supposed to happen kind of a thing. Anyway,
So what
amazing,
you're saying
amazing.
is, if the Jets make the playoffs, we do a live stream from underneath the Williamsburg Bridge. This is
Yeah.
what you're saying.
Frankie, now if we did, would you come?
I would try my best to make it.
That's very
So you're
non-committal, everybody.
As long
That
as
was
you, as long as
non-committal.
we had the tent city and I could be protected from the weather, because it's going to be cold out there.
It's going to be cold. You're right.
It's
It's definitely
not
gonna
the
be cold.
summertime.
All right. So before I get to the next super chat, and thank you both, Jeremy and Watsuke, for keeping track. Clearly, I've gone off the rails here. Okay. So I am backed up on what's going on in the chat. But I want to address this poll and get this done. Let's see the poll, Frankie. I'm going to end the poll without looking at the results, and we'll see what's happening. Do you like the blinking lights behind GreenBean? 57% say yes.
Oh,
And 42% say, please stop with the lights. So thank you, everybody, for for voting. And I do believe that the lights won. But Frankie, it's kind of like one of those things where you have to have a super majority. You know what I mean? Like if there's 42% of the crowd that doesn't like that, I can't have that, right? So I think we will go back to, let's see. I don't like that. That's like a pulse. Wait. That's slower. Let me see. What
Yeah,
was the
that's
one I
better.
was using?
you got to have a little bit of motion, but not
Yeah.
too much.
There we go. There we go. We're going to leave that. Okay. And I dropped the remote so I can no longer, I can't reach it. I can't change it. So there it is. Thank you for the poll, everybody. That was good. And thank you, Matthew. Hopefully we correctly answered your question or whatever. Good story, right? Right, Frankie? That's one of my good stories. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's one of my great moments. Great life moment, dude. Truly. Mr. D checking back in. Now, Jeremy, am I doing this right? Was Mr. D next after? Yeah, awesome. Thank you. 200 plus in the chat. Hit it, everybody. Yeah, Mr. D's correct. Thank you, Mr. D. I forget to say that stuff, Frank. I'm not a very good host. If you are in here and you are enjoying Frankie's new location and you enjoy stories about New York City collectively yelling at the same time, why don't you consider hitting that little thumbs up button? It changes everything for this channel. Like, for example, right now, there's 252 of you in here and we're hanging out. If nobody hits like, YouTube thinks that it's just 252 people and that's all that this channel can attract. That's it. He's got what he's got. Leave him. If you all hit the like button, YouTube then thinks, ooh, maybe we should raise this by 15% and show him to 15,000 more people. That's what happens. So we can grow that way over here. So anyway, we do appreciate when you hit the like button. I appreciate Mr. D reminding me to remind you to do it. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, that's even bigger, quite frankly. I'm about 23 away from 9,000. And my goal, Frankie, is to get to 10,000 before my 2-year anniversary, which is December 31st. I think we can do it, Frankie. I really do it. So I have a 1,023 left before December. Not bad.
No problem.
No problem. So everybody, if you haven't subscribed, please do. If you haven't hit the like button, please do. And for everybody who already has, thank you so much. You guys know, I mean, I sometimes forget to say it like with my mother, but I do love you. I love you and appreciate you. Look at this. Look at all this. Look at Ablab like button. Ablab's killing it with the like button. 4 straight comments. Hank G's doing the old thumbs up, Arun. You guys are the best. Mr. Terrible says, I only hit the like button if it's earned. And you know what, Mr. Terrible? I think that's actually appropriate. Like, you know what? Remember, Frankie, we were on the draft live stream on the Talking Jets panel with Matt O'Leary, myself, and Ryan at Jets Talk 24/7. And we were saying, hit the like button. And somebody actually said, I don't like that you tell me what to do. You know, that in the comments, I don't appreciate it. And I said to him, well, let me ask you this. Do you like it? Like, are you enjoying it? He said, yeah. I said, well, then if you like it, why? And he said, you know, that's a good point. He said, I don't like that you're telling me to do it. So a lot of times in my videos, I'll say, if you like it, you know, if you like the video or the stream in this particular instance, please hit the like button. Don't do it if you don't want to. Like, don't feel strong-armed. You know what I mean? That's definitely not what we want. Thank you, Mr. Terrible Takes. We love you and that you're here. And Mr. Terrible brings it straight, Frankie. You know, he doesn't jump on any bandwagons. I like that about Mr. Terrible. You know, one of those guys. So, all right, we're back. Dom C, our good friend Dom C, who was
the stats.
Yeah, I mean, dude, he was incredible. He broke down the final drive for us in our beanbagger all 22 breakdown on Wednesday. He was fantastic. And I believe he was on Jeremy's channel last night, and I'm seeing some rave reviews there as well. So he's bringing some statistics, Frankie. Let's see what he says. He says Sherwood 166 total special teams plays, 14 total tackles, solos, and a 6. Jets leaders, Hardy, Sherwood, Ashton Davis. So there you go, man. Thank you, Dom. Fantastic. That's fantastic. And that's exactly what I was saying. And I appreciate you backing me up there and kind of putting that together. But that's the kind of thing, like when you look at our special teams, barring the propensity for our leader, our captain, Mr. Hardy, to get stupid ass penalties. He really does do that. It's more consistent than I'd like to admit. And he got one in Buffalo. But outside of that, our special teams are fantastic, dude. And we did another fake punt today. That's 3 fake punts during this season, I think it is, right? All of which were successful. 2?
Yeah.
Is it only 2?
I remember the pass.
But look, we have blocked field goals, we have blocked punts, we have fake punts, we have an onside kick. And if CBS didn't show the graphic on the TV, did you hear about that one, Frankie? That Bill Belichick was told, CBS was literally showing Boyer. He was like, he had the onside kick play on a card where we were kicking it. He was showing everybody. Sherwood's there, Hardy's there, Will Parks is there, and he's showing everybody. CBS is zoomed in on it. Bill Belichick calls a timeout, watches it, and then talks about it in the presser. Not, I mean, he didn't overtly, but he said, we called a timeout, and once we kind of knew what was going on, we were ready to go do it. And he knew. So isn't that some bullshit? So without that, though, this special team, we may have got that. Braden Mann is the best onside kicker I've ever seen in my life. You ever see a kicker do that shit? What's
he did the old Rooney. He did the old Rooney. Never seen that one before. Yeah, we're very highly rated. Away 9th overall in terms of special teams, and that's with Braden Mann shanking some punts. If he could stop shanking them, be nice, and also down on the kickoff. So Braden has done some really cool things this year, but a couple of shanks, a couple of slips on kickoffs. Yeah. I've never seen a guy slip on the kickoffs, and he's done it twice now. I mean, what's going on?
Well, and you know that's a great point. And look, Braden Mann is not devoid of clams, right? Like he's had his issues as well. The good news is they seem to be fewer and farther between. Like last year, once he got his leg ripped off when we signed Morehouse or Morstead or whatever his name was, and then we brought Braden Mann. He was like, it took him a minute to kind of get back into the things, and people were calling for his head and everything. I think for the most part, we can look at Braden Mann as an asset. That's what I think anyway. I think, but that, like the point you just made, Frankie, that opening kickoff, I yelled, oh my God, they did a squib on the opener. I'm thinking, that they're trying some crazy shit. And it was Braden Mann kicked his toes into which could have ripped, you could break your leg like that, man.
Yeah.
But
Especially on our turf.
yeah, but that's the thing. But Frankie, tell me. And then the first play was Sauce Gardner burned for 30 yards or whatever it was.
Oh,
I thought to
yeah.
myself, oh no, this is going to be that game. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Oh no. Did you feel the same way?
Well, not really. I'm not really. I mean, Sauce got burned, and I was like, well, maybe this is one. I mean, because every cornerback's going to get burned. It actually felt better about that one after he's talked about why he got burned. Did you hear that?
No. What? No, thank you. This is great. I didn't hear this.
So I felt a lot better because he said, well, based on all my film study, I saw the tendency they had, and normally on that play they run an out, so I was jumping the route. And it just so happened on the play they went against tendency, either intentionally or unintentionally, and he did an out and up. And so to me, if you're going to make a mistake, let it be based on the fact that you saw something in film study, were anticipating something, and they just fooled you, rather than just being bad, like
Right.
like Les Austin or something. So it made me feel a little better. Like, okay, it's not good that he got burned, but at least there was a thought process. At least there was a lot of film study. At least there was a solid reason why he was jumping the route. And if they had went according to tendency, probably would have been a pick six.
Yeah. Amazing.
Which,
No, I actually agree with you. I think that's a good reason. Now you got to give it to the Buffalo coaches, and hopefully as he goes along in his very, very young career here, maybe he will be less likely to fully commit to something like that and can find that middle ground without, still being able to recoup and everything. But yes, the fact that it's not that, I suck. You know what I mean? I don't know what I'm doing out here. I'm fucking, you know what I mean? I'm Javelin Guidry. I don't know what's going on. Or Tremaine Johnson or whoever. It's the fact that he was betting on their study working out and paying off, and you got to give it to the Buffalo Bills. They probably are aware of that, and this is where the chess match comes in, man. Yeah. And they knew that he would think this, so they did that, and it worked. Yeah. And that's kind of what you see. I mean, look, we saw LaFleur doing that in the fourth quarter too. Like LaFleur was setting them up. Dom did such a great job breaking down the plays. Like we ran the same exact run play 3 times in a row, and then we sent Uzoma to do the same thing as if we're running the same play, and then it was different, and the safety bit hard because of it. Mm-hmm. And that's the kind of stuff that you want your coordinators to be able to do, man. And look, we've been harsh on these guys, and I think rightfully so. I mean, they were the 32nd worst in everything. You know what I mean? Across the board, offense, defense, except special teams. And we won 4 games, and we came out in the season and we were 1-2, and it was ugly. You know what I mean? So, but I think that all said, even if it's imperfect, and even if we can remember, like, these guys are new. I mean, let's be real here. LaFleur's in his 2nd season ever doing this too, and so is Jeff Ulbricht and Robert Saleh for that matter. I think you can at least acknowledge, Frankie, and correct me if I'm wrong, that these guys have some chops. Like, they have NFL level chops. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen it. We were worried in the beginning of the year when things weren't working out, but now we see the results of what they're doing, and you can't question. I mean, it's hard to question it. DVOA has a 6th overall in defense. We started out 32nd. We started on the bottom. Now we're here. We started out first few games, we were 32nd, and we said, oh, goodness, this is the same as last year. And Ulbrich has all these players. Last year, he didn't have any players, and we said, okay, you get a pass for that. You didn't have any players. You had freedom around.
Right.
So,
you've said that more than once. Like, how about we let them get some players for him before we judge him?
Right. And then he got some players in the first few games. We were judging him because it wasn't working. But now he's up to 6th best in the league. So you got to say, okay, Ulbrich and Saleh, they got it. It's working. And you can see LaFleur getting better and learning and figuring out who to use where and this, that, and the other thing. So, yeah. And Boyer's always been good. Our special teams has pretty much always been good. So, now that we have some players, you can see what Ulbricht's doing, and it's really exciting.
Yeah. It really is. And look, I still, if I'm being honest, like, we're all friends here, right? We're all friends. And by and large, we've been through this for a long time with this franchise and this team and everything. I'm going to shoot real straight with you guys. I am still scared that the bottom's going to fall out. All right. Like I am. I'm scared. Now, I feel really good about what we're seeing. And the way that they're doing it is kind of in case the bottom does fall out, like we have fail safes in place. And I like that. Like, that's why I like the way Joe Douglas has been building the team. And, look, Jetnation for the first 2 years of his, even up until this draft, I'd say a lot of people were, hey, Joe Douglas sucks. And like guys like myself were saying, I can like, it might not work, but I like how he's doing it. And we're starting to see the results because it looks like we're developing depth. And so when a guy does go down, for the most part, we have another guy that's quality that can come in, and it's kind of like the anti-bottom falling out, in at least to some degree. And I really, really like that. Like, even like Hawk is saying, Jermaine Johnson is another one, man. Like, he's a guy that we can bring on as slowly as we want. We don't need him. You know what I mean?
I mean, the opposite of look at the Rams, for example. The Rams did the opposite strategy that we employed. They said, we're going for it right now. We don't care. We're trading all of our picks. We do not care. Every pick we're trading, F them picks, right? The F them pick strategy. That was the strategy. And they won the Super Bowl. So you got to say, hey, they Super Bowl. We were left arm for a Super Bowl. But, but at the other hand, now look at them when they get hit with injuries. They got nothing. If you have a bunch of superstars that you overload the roster with, and it's top heavy, and a few guys go down and a few things start, breaking down, you got nothing in back of them. The perfect example, Sherwood comes in for a few with Mosley going down, and he holds his own because we had draft picks and we took him. And, and we got Hamza on the practice squad. I mean, our practice squad players are pretty doggone good as well.
That's right. So such a good point. We forget about those guys. Jonathan Marshall's over there. Like, we got some guys over
Smart.
there.
Like, we're probably going to bring up Tanzel Smart rather than signing Linval Joseph, maybe, because we feel like maybe Tanzel Smart's just as good as Linval Joseph, for example. So we don't have to spend the money on Joseph, for example.
Yeah. I mean, we have that linebacker. Who's the linebacker again? His name is escaping
Chaz
me.
Surratt. We have Chaz Surratt sitting around. We just have a guy sitting around who was a third-round pick. A couple of years ago, a third-round pick that guy really excited about, scouts. He's just sitting around on the practice squad. Nobody hears from him. What's going on with Chaz Surratt? We don't know. But he's just sitting there just in case. And that's another strategy for building your roster. And, that's why Von Miller says, no, it's built on marble. And that's why Robert Saleh says this is a team is built, not bought. And, we spend money on free agency. We sure do. We got a lot of free agents here. But the fact,
you got to do that.
Yeah, and you got to do that. And Joe Douglas isn't cheap or anything like that, like people used to say, or he doesn't like injured players, like they used to say, which is also crazy. And we have quality depth everywhere. You have a guy like Mims just sit down active, just in case. I mean, how teams would love to have a guy with that skill set just sitting around as your sixth wide receiver. I mean,
it's incredible. It's incredible. And I like that, like, very simply, it's built, not bought. And I believe in that, and I like it. And that's when guys are invested. And like Jin Pak is saying here, I did see that. Garrett Wilson was jumping for joy on the Mims catch. Now, part of that is the drive's alive and we can win the game. The other side is he's genuinely happy for his teammate, where the Elijah Moore thing kind of shook us a little bit, our foundation on how, it's like, but the Elijah Moore thing, I think is a singular item. Like, you look at the rest of the guys, the team chemistry here is legit. You know what I mean? Like, it really is legit. And Garrett Wilson jumping around, happy for Denzel Mims. It warms your heart, man. It really does, because guys, we've been missing this for so long. We had me players. Anybody who was good around here, for the most part, was a me player. I mean, maybe not. Ooh, look at this. Look at that. Big, long something or other from the Panthers in this 3-0 slow fest. That's exciting. I got to see. Hopefully it was DJ Moore. I start him. I don't think it was. I got him tonight. Nope. Let me see. It's Laviska Shenault. Remember? Hey, you guys remember? He was my secret favorite receiver in that draft, the Denzel Mims draft. I just didn't like his
Laviska's
injury.
Shenault sighting, everybody.
Right.
Laviska's
He's been
Shenault
good.
sighting.
It's so crazy because he's been actually very good, but his thing was injury. I was spooked by, but he's the exact type of receiver that GreenBean likes. Everybody, that's my kind of guy, Laviska Shenault. Anyway, yeah. So it's this stuff is real. What we're seeing, this team chemistry is legit, guys. Mr. D checking in. He says this team is going to be good for some time. Young playmakers competing in camp, growing with each other. Also welcoming new players, and how many players are now going to want to come to the Jets. You know, that's such a great point, Mr. D. And like, obviously what we were just talking about folds very nicely into what you're saying here. But Frankie, the point about, the free agents, I mean, for a long time, it was a known part of our free agents. You had to pay a jet tax. If I'm going to get you to come over here for this shit show, you're going to have to pay me, 18% more than the Steelers are paying me. I mean, look at what Avery Williamson said. He said he was going to the Titans, and then the Jets came in with a boatload of money. He said, I couldn't pass it up. CJ Mosley too. So
Le'Veon Bell. Different. But I mean, think about it. We were able to recruit Saleh mostly, but the whole crew and Saleh were able to recruit guys based on last year. Based on a down to the studs rebuild where we won 4 games, and the year before we won games, and we still were able to recruit people like Jordan Whitehead and CJ Uzama and Tyler Conklin and Laken Tomlinson. How's it going to be this offseason? I think a little better. You already have the recruiter. I mean, is there a better recruiter than Saleh? I mean, come on, that guy. I want to run through walls for Saleh. I don't even play football. So these guys are going to be able to come here. I mean, we might be able to get Deron Payne. We might be able to get Poona Ford. We might be able to get, Jesse Bates. I mean, the final pieces, we might be able to put them in place, not even to mention the draft. So, yeah, I mean, it's a great point by Mr. D. If we could recruit off a down to the studs rebuild year with with a question mark at quarterback and 4 wins in the bank, what could we do now? So, great point.
Yeah. Amazing. And you know what? Another thing I'll add to that, Frankie, on why I think that this team is being built the right way. Like, even though I have PTSD and I'm legitimately still scared, guys, I am. I'm like, ugh. And everybody's saying they're going to win 3 more games. And then like, I am afraid of that happening. And it would be the Jetsy thing to do, right? We know this. We've been here, seen it, done that, all the stuff. But the reason that I feel even though I'm scared of it, I feel confident that won't happen, because you look at all these things, what Frankie's talking about, what Mr. D's talking about, and then you add, Joe Douglas has not signed one contract that puts us in trouble yet. Not one. He has not needed to do that one time. And if somebody wanted it, he said, good, then go somewhere else. I'm not doing it. He has not done that. We got Uzoma and Conklin and Reed and Whitehead and Tomlinson, whether we like him or not anymore. He was the number 1 guard in free agency last year. So we got these guys without being hamstrung for 5 years, with all kinds of dead cap and injury guarantees and all kinds of shit that McCagnon used to do. Joe Douglas, on top of everything we're saying, also knows how to make a contract in such a way that, yes, it's good for the player, but it's also good for the team. We don't see him collapsing and succumbing to, outward pressure from agents like with Marcus May or even like Kelechi Osemele early on. He says, no, I don't know. I'm not bending for that. We just saw it with Elijah Moore. I want to trade in the whole thing. Joe Douglas say, I'm doing something already, kid. Sorry, busy, not trading you.
Again, it goes back to the poker face. I mean, if you're in a staring contest with Joe Douglas, good luck. Joe Douglas, I don't even think he has eyelids. He's not blinking. Good luck.
Joe Douglas, the eyelidless wonder. Mr. D checking back in, Frank. He agrees with you. He can fix it. Yeah. Joe Douglas for president. I completely agree. What do you think, Mr. D? Joe Douglas have eyelids? That's pretty good. You know what's funny, Frankie, in the chat? Hank G goes, oh, man, I didn't even see those lights, right? I didn't even notice it. And then Jin Pak comes in. That's the first thing I saw when I turned this channel. Oh my God, what's going on with those lights? It's just funny, right? Like a totally different thing. But I think, again, I appreciate all of your input because I didn't know. I just put them on. Again, I don't, it's my first time doing that. So I got to see. Wat2K agrees as well. Second pattern is better. Thank you, Wat2K. But yeah, man, I don't know. So I'm glad you guys checked in. And even though the lights won, I don't think it was by a wide enough margin to keep them on. Let's see. Okay, says GreenBean Jetsfan. We got to find a legit name for our all-time elite defense, 2022 Jets. He likes Sauce and Company. What do you think, Frankie? If you had to jump the gun a little bit, be a tad presumptuous and have some fun, what do you think a good name for this defense would be?
The no-fly zone.
Ooh, I like that. Okay, I like the no-fly zone. I like Sauce and Company. Sauce and Company. I like it. How about the Murderers? Does that do anything for anybody?
I mean, shouldn't it be jetish? Like, do we have to get into this concept of as above, so below? Has to be jet related, just like the logo, just like the colors. What do you think about this? There's a lot of speculation. We have not worn green uniforms this year. GreenBean. Did you know that?
Let me tell you this. We are undefeated in our black pants, white jersey. We switched for one game. We lost, went back to it, won. Listen to this, Frankie. I'm not sure if you guys are aware. I'm going to drop some news. Bill Belichick, who knows this, has already decided to wear his white jerseys at home when we play them next week, which forces us to wear the green because he knows, Frankie.
Can we go back to the black?
I guess we could. We didn't necessarily. I mean, we could kind of redeem it, but they already have that planned. Frankie, I'm going to let you know too. For the last maybe 5-10 minutes, you've been real spotty internet wise. Just want to let you know. I'm not sure if there's anything you can do. You're going in and out a little bit. Just the last few minutes.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, I think, look, dude, that's the shit, man. Like people. Sometimes we talk about wearing the jersey every day. Like me and Jeremy, we wear the same clothes and we eat the chips and we do all the good luck stuff, right? People are like, oh, it's so stupid. Like there are people that tell me even that we're dumb. It's like, I don't know, maybe. But if there's anything to it, even if it's just a little tiny sprinkle, it's one piece of Parmesan cheese on the big, plate of lasagna. It's even if that's all it is. If it has anything, if it can do anything, we do it, right? And Bill Belichick dude, why would he do that? He's forcing us not to wear the jerseys that even if it's just we feel like winners in it. We like the way we look in it. He made sure that we can't do that. Both times we play him, it'll be without the uniform combination that we've been winning in. So much, Frankie. What do you think of that? You think there's any real relevance, like outside of the good luck and all that? Do you think there's any real relevance to this?
I mean, I saw people speculating about it. I wouldn't put anything past Bill Belichick. He is what he is. He still hates us. But the point of the matter is, no matter what uniforms we're in, we need to go and avenge our loss. We need to make a vengeance.
Yeah, I agree. Avenge the loss. I don't give a shit if we have to wear pink skirts. We go out there and we batter them like we can. Because let me tell you guys something. I said it a bunch. I know a lot of you feel the same way. That game was ours. We were the better team. All right. All across the board. The one place that we were not the better team was Zach Wilson. And if Zach Wilson can simply do what he did in Buffalo, if he did that in the New England game, in my opinion, we win that game without even a question mark. It's like without even an issue.
Agreed.
So I agree. Oh, look at this, Frankie, your pennants. So Jettasonic checking back in, and thank you, Jettasonic, for the way that you're managing this particular little foray into the Frankie pennants. I appreciate it. So he says, pennants for Frankie. This is, guys, if you weren't watching, Frankie said that we were not going to beat Buffalo. He said there's no way we're beating Buffalo, whatever. Jetasonic is calling him out on that and thinks Frankie should have some sort of penance. Frankie agreed. So here we are. All right, that's where we are. Let's see. Pull up the blinds, open that window, and shout into the Pittsburgh night, I was wrong about the Jets not being able to beat the Bills. Jets, 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 Jets. Frankie, I love that.
Yeah,
I don't know
too.
what your neighbors are like. I don't know, but I love it.
This is the thing. I'll do it, Jetasonic. Do it. But what happens when neighbors get a little angry and come at me with forks and knives and pitchforks and torches for disturbing? No. Who's going to protect me, Jetasonic?
Right. Then he's kind of alone out there. Right. Jetasonic, are you in Pittsburgh? Can you help him if that happens?
But I'll do it.
I can't.
I'll do it.
All right. This is great.
Not now.
I love it.
I'll do it after.
When you do, you have to do it right now? Do it now.
Are you crazy?
You can't do it now?
No.
Okay. I thought you meant you were going to do it right now. That would have been exciting. I was really happy about that. Now, Frankie, just like, do you have any relationship with your neighbors? Is it tenuous, good, bad?
No, this is a big apartment complex. So like in a lot of cities, when you have a big apartment complex, nobody knows anything. It's like,
Yeah. You guys nod if you see each other, right?
So, yeah.
How you doing?
Yeah, the old nod. Yeah.
The old
Taking out
nod
the
room.
garbage. Yeah.
That's
so I don't
right.
know anybody here, but so I don't know. They would, but of course, this is Steeler country. I can't be yelling about the Jets and not expect there to be some backlash. This is Steeler country. Like, I'm a couple of miles from the stadium. Like, it's very close.
Wow. So, and the Steelers are in an interesting position that they're not used to being in. This is, I mean, I saw some talking heads, Frankie, talking about Tomlin maybe being on the hot seat. What do you think of that real quick? You think
the OC, Matt Canada is getting most of the blame, and rightly so. So Matt Canada is probably going to go. But I mean, look at their draft picks. They drafted in the first round Najee Harris, who's a really nice player, but do you really need him in the first round, a running back like that? And he's looked like hot garbage. They are better. Then the next year they picked Pickett in the first round. And it's like, Pickett's a nice player. Did you need to take him in the first round, though? And by not taking players you normally take in the first round, like linebackers, the kinds of players, and offensive linemen that they need desperately, by passing up those type of players, you got a running back who, all right. And then you got a quarterback who is maybe good, maybe not. Maybe you could have got him in the second round, and you passed up on something you needed, which for them was offensive line for the most part.
Yeah, though that was the thing. And that was Ben's last year too. And there was a loud chorus, like, protect them for the last year. Like they were decimated on the offensive line. Now, that said, I happen to really like Najee Harris as a pick. And I obviously really love Pat Freiermuth in the second round. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird. Like, it looks like those are the kinds of picks in the first round that you do when you got everything else. That's like the liberty that you get when you're and look, and Pittsburgh is used to being in that position. So this is going to be interesting. I'm really watching with bated breath. You know what I'd like to see, guys, between us? I'd love to see a nice 4 or 5 year stint of the Steelers being shit. I'd love it. I really would. It's like it cleans the NFL. You know what I mean? Like, the Steelers, the Ravens, Dallas, like, fucking let them be on the bottom. The Jaguars, the Jets, the Bears, like, let's come up, and the Lions,
Well, you know what happened, GreenBean? This is what I tell my Steeler fans who are here. I said, listen, you lost to us. It means we're the Steelers, and you're winning. We're going to be Steelers the way they've built their program.
Frankie,
we'll have the Marble Foundation.
Wait, hold on. You got to back up. We couldn't hear you. You cut out really bad. Now, I checked my speed. I look to be pretty solid right now. So I think it's you. But if you could repeat that, because we weren't able to hear you. Are you there?
Hang on.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm connected. Okay, I should be on my Wi. Okay, I'm not on Wi-Fi, so I should be good. How do I sound? Sound check.
Yeah. You good?
Yeah. So I said, to the Steelers. to the Steeler fans. I said, look, you lost to us. So now we're the Steelers and you're the Jets. The past 10 years of us, that's what you have to endure now. And we get to have the last 20 years that you've had. How about
And what they say? They're like, this will never stick. They're like,
they said, make sure they said enjoy it. They said enjoy it now it lasts. And then every we win, I'm enjoying it while it lasts. And it's
well, that's the thing, Frankie. And you're still cutting out pretty bad, but I think we got the point. Frankie's right. And this is what we tell everybody, guys. Like, we don't know what the future holds. We don't know what the rest of the season holds. But let's say we lose a bunch of games and we don't even make the playoffs. And you wasted the front half of the season, all this fun and excitement, bitching about the three things you didn't like. Like, I don't know. I don't like Max Smith. I don't like Connor McDermott or Zach or whatever. Enjoy it while it's here, guys. Enjoy it. Now, my thoughts are, and my hope is that this is going to be a nice elongated stretch of the Jets being a relevant team. I think this is the beginning of the Jets being a relevant and competitive team. But we don't know. Look, we've been in 1998. We made it to the AFC Championship game. We lost to the Denver Broncos, and Joe Namath said, you don't realize how big of a deal this loss is, because even though the next year we were the number one team in the NFL, everybody had us as the Super Bowl favorites. Joe Namath said, you never know what the next year brings. This might be it. This might be the last time we're here for a decade. And guess what? The bottom fell out. Even with Parcells and Belichick and all the guys that we had, bottom fell out, and we know we had a stretch with we're still a competitive team for a while, but anyway, Chris KV checking in. Thank you, Chris. He says Elijah Moore looks laser focused during his bye week. Saw his Instagram story, and I get the feeling he's going to have a breakout in the coming weeks. Well, Frankie, I'll use Chris K's comment here, super chat, to kind of dovetail with another subject that I hope that we get to tonight, which is Robert Saleh made a pretty bold statement where Elijah Moore is concerned this week. He said that the Jets plan to move him from the outside, which is where they've been predominantly using him, I should say. They're going to move him to the slot moving forward, is I think how he said it. So Chris KV is sensing that Elijah Moore, the troublesome period is, we're kind of moving past it. I would agree. I think his interviews have been much, much more positive and team-based. And they're moving him to the slot where guys like you, me, and plenty of others, thought that he should probably be in the slot. That's kind of what he did in college for the most part. And so they're going to move him there. So do you think that this is going to bode well for Elijah Moore and the offense? Do you think he's poised for a breakout after the bye? How are you seeing all this? Or do you still think Elijah Moore is just kind of an afterthought at this point?
No, I mean, I think he can be a big part of our offense. And I think what's happened is Garrett Wilson has proven that he can win on the outside. He's also proven he can win on the inside. Garrett Wilson can win wherever you put him. Garrett Wilson is fantastic. So that being the case, put Elijah on the slot. Why not? He was successful that way in college. Put him in the backfield once or twice. I keep saying, let the defense think about that. Put that on tape. Hey, they might push in Elijah in the backfield and hand him the ball. Give him a pop pass. Can we give Elijah a pop pass? The man's super fast and elusive and slippery. Can we get him a pop pass? Just get him into the offense. He's super talented. Why not? Yeah, so I like it. We've been saying for 2 years, keep Elijah in the slot, but maybe we didn't have what we liked on the outside, so we tried him out there, and he can do that, on occasion. But now we have Garrett, we have Corey coming back, we got Denzel, we got all these people. In the inside, let's going. He's super talented. It's amazing that we are doing this well, and Elijah Moore has done nothing. Well, not nothing, but basically nothing, especially lately. What if he gets going? I mean, here's a super talented guy that's just sitting around gathering dust, doing nothing. So, it's fantastic.
Well, and this is kind of like what we were talking about before. It's like, we have guys that in just our teams in the past, we would have killed to have on our front line starters, and they're just hanging out in the back. They're all not even suiting up for the games because that's how stacked we are. So anyway, it's just an amazing positive. And Chris, I gotta say, I really do think that the move to the slot is probably what he was complaining about in the first place. Like, why the hell do you have me on the outside? You're sending me on go routes and everything, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's all speculation, of course, but I think this is going to bode really well. And I think the bye week and everything is going to just add to the settling down period. And I believe in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I think we're going to see, if not at least a contribution from Moore as far as the ball in his hands, I think a breakout could really be coming, man. I really do. And it's exciting. Now, let me make sure now. All right. So there's Chris. I got to get on these super chats. We got to talking and I'm behind here, Frankie. So I apologize, everybody. Thomas Cahill checking in. Does somebody know about Brees's surgery? Did he have it? You know what, Frankie? I honestly don't know. Did you follow up with Brees Hall and what's going on with his recovery and all that?
Something interesting about Brees Hall's surgery. There's a new philosophy sort of with these type of injuries that it's actually better to rehab the knee a little bit for about a month before having surgery, and then that shortens your recovery time. This is something new going on in the league.
Wait, say that again. I didn't even absorb that. So can you say that again?
There's something new going on with these type of injuries. They do some type of rehab, I don't know what kind, of the knee prior to surgery, about a month's worth of rehab of some kind. I don't know what they do. And then you have the surgery. And by doing that rehab beforehand, it speeds up your recovery time. So that could be happening. And we don't know, we got to wait for somebody to ask Saleh or Joe Douglas or somebody. So that's interesting. So he may not have, and he may be doing rehab. It may be part of the plan to get him back sooner because he didn't have multiple, like Javonte Williams, for example, had a much more severe injury than Brees did, unfortunately. Michael Carter's buddy, Javonte Williams for the Broncos, had multiple. He had ACL, LCL, all the CLs. He had a much more. So he's probably going to take a longer time to come back. So I think that could be what's going on with Brees Hall. He's probably prepping it up for surgery, but I wouldn't worry about it, Thomas. I mean, we're gonna take care of Brees Hall. Don't worry.
Yeah. I mean, look, and obviously we have time. You know what I mean? Like, there's we're not going to get him back for the end of the season, so we have time, to do this. So, what an interesting development that would be. Like, if they learned that waiting a certain period before the surgery is actually beneficial. That's new to me. And look, you guys know I'm well steeped in surgical knowledge. I've gone to school for many, many years to be a surgeon. So this is even surprising to me. Here we go. Super Dario checking in. Thank you, Super Dario, for the super chat. You're the Hunter S. Thompson of Jets commentary. Little heart. Well, thank you. I take that as a compliment, Frankie. Your fair and balanced views, insights, and peppering in some wild and revealing life stories. A salud. Hey, thank you, Super Dario. Now, look, I like Hunter S. Thompson. Fear and Loathing, amazing book and fantastically performed movie. One of my absolute favorites. I just hope I don't end in the same way that Hunter S. Thompson did, which is sadly, killing myself. So I don't want to do that, but I don't think that's what you were saying, Super Dario. And I appreciate that, man. Sometimes I wonder with my stories, Frankie. Sometimes I'm in mid-story and I'm like, holy shit, I'm really telling this one, huh? I don't know. But thank you, Super Dario. We appreciate that. And hopefully you guys enjoy some of my stories because I find it impossible not to talk. So that's kind of what you're dealing with here. AbLab Studios checking back in, Frankie. He says, in terms of depth, how does JD pipeline talent for us? How Baltimore or the Belichick's do it? You see okay, comparing them for years, they're always around, would love to have a 15-year presence. Well, look, I think I'll say this, and then I'm real curious as to what Frankie thinks about this. It takes time to develop the pipeline, right? Like you're not just going to have a pipeline. When you look at guys like Jamie and Sherwood, like Max Mitchell, he wasn't supposed to start this year, right? Even Michael Clemens, and on and on. These are guys that are pipeline guys, right? They can play, they can contribute on special teams, but they're there in your system for a year, 2 years, 3 years. So by the time you have a guy that is going to get a big contract or is retiring or is becoming ineffective, you already have those guys on your team. They already know the system in and out. That's where the pipeline benefit comes in. And that's where teams like the Steelers, like the Ravens, and it's different, but also with New England, the San Francisco 49ers do it pretty well too. These teams, the reason that they're able to stay relevant, right, Ablab, is because of their ability to have guys on the squad. So like every year for us, when we lose a guy, we're starting fresh with a new guy. Every friggin' time, all the way up to quarterbacks. We're always, you got to give him 2 years. That's his first year in the system. Now what we're hoping to do is actually have these guys on the squad. Now, guys like Max Mitchell, he wasn't supposed to, supposed to start. Now he ended up playing and playing well, but that's still not indicative of where his development is going to go. That guy could be in 2 years. He could be poised to be one of the most dominant right tackles in the NFL. And that's what they're trying to do with our mid and late round picks. And I'm actually quite excited about it, Frankie. I mean, I think I see the telltale signs of the Ravens and what they've been doing over here. Now, how do you feel about it? Do you agree? Are you seeing the same thing that I am over here?
Yeah, I mean, think about it. It goes into one of your favorite topics too, which is comp picks. And that's part of it. They get free picks every year. They just get free picks because of their philosophy of what to do. And think about the transactions that happened this year with the Belichick's. They let J.C. Jackson go. Remember? J.C. Jackson was thought to be one of the big free agent signings. He was awesome. J.C. Jackson, he's a cornerback you want on your team. So the Chargers signed him to a big, huge contract. And guess what happened? He stunk. And they benched him. And then he got hurt. And now he's out for the season. And what did Belichick do? He went and drafted a bunch of guys. Everyone said, oh, these are terrible draft picks. Jones, Jack Jones, Marcus Jones, this other Jones, all the Joneses.
Cole Strange.
Any guy named Jones he took, and he put him in the defensive backfield. And guess what? They're fine. Are they suffering in the defensive backfield? So part of it is coaching. Belichick knows he can take a guy with certain skills, Jack Jones, Marcus Jones, whoever, and make them into J.C. Jackson. He doesn't need to give J.C. Jackson 20 million, 40, whatever he got. He doesn't need to do that. He can let him go, get because he's a big free agent loss, and just draft a guy with certain skill set, coach them to become as good as J.C. Jackson. And the 49ers are another example of that. They can take guys on the defensive line because they have Coach Kusarik in San Francisco, who's the best defensive line coaches in football. They'll just take a guy and make him into Eric Armstead, or make him into a really good contributing key, or come into a guy. So you can just draft your way and then draft him and coach him. And then when they're for making big money, unless they're, your foundational pieces, you let them go, you get comp picks, and now you have more picks. And now that's the pipeline. It's coaching. It's a philosophy, and it's it's how you manage your budget. And then that's also better for your cap space.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's it. Like Frankie said, I'm surprised that comp picks didn't come out of my mouth, because when I started talking, that was,
too.
you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, it's such an interesting thing where the Jets have been completely devoid of that concept for decades. The only one who did a decent job with it was Idzik. So, oddly enough to say, he actually saw that. Now he couldn't do shit with them. Number one, Rex was picking the players anyway, so there's that. But but as far as kind of understanding that the more like you can let guys go, you can clean your cap, you can get extra picks, and you can have all these guys developing. That's at least he was aware of that. Now again, he sucked, and that was the one thing that he did. In addition to, so he did some good contract work, but other than that, he was a waste of space, as we know. But it's nice to see that the Jets are kind of moving in that direction. And I think it's real, man. I think that we're going to see this continue. And I mean, look, just like Frankie said, we have guys, we have Chaz Surratt on our practice squad right now. Why is he there? We have Bradley and I on our practice squad. These guys can start, for Jets teams in the past 5 years. Easy, So these are guys this is the type of quality that we have hiding on our roster. We got too many to even use them. So it's interesting. GreenBean, the Pats game is probably more pressure than Buffalo, Thomas Cahill says. If we win, we are in. You know what I will say, Thomas? I think that, it really sucks that we lost the New England game, right? It really does. Especially because I think that we had it, and I fucking hate losing to the Patriots. Like, I hate it. I want to punch Belichick in the face soon, man. And I wanted it to be that game, right? So it sucks. But I gotta say, I don't know if we beat Buffalo, if we beat New England. I feel like there was kind of that little extra urgency, Frankie. You know what I mean? Just that little bit of something. Like, we can't go into the bye after this great start on a 2-game skid. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think. Yeah.
What's interesting about it is, did something click with Zach? To me, that's the whole thing. Because last week, I think somebody brought up a good point on this program. They said we saw something different from Zach after the game. He said, yeah, I noticed, or maybe it was on my live stream, I forget. And I said, yeah, I noticed that too. And I wondered, is that going to translate into anything? And then he got in Buffalo, a completely different game. Yeah. And maybe was headband instead of the white one. Maybe he's now a black hat instead of a white hat. I don't know, but
maybe.
But did something click for Zach in the Patriot game that now he's going to? And we'll only know by the games. We'll see. But if that happened, look out. If Zach keeps playing like he did in Buffalo, we're going to be a hard team to beat for anybody.
Agreed. And you know what? Listen, before the game, Josh Allen gave that interview. They were asking him his thoughts on Zach. And remember what he said? He said, hey, look, I had a 3-interception game against the Patriots, and that was kind of the game that did it to me. And then from the next game, he turned it around and kind of started this trajectory that he's on. And that was kind of the end of it for him, So he said, I don't know, Zach just did the same thing. And it does look like, I mean, it's been 1 week, right? But it looks like everything we were complaining about, he fixed in 1 week. He wasn't a perfect quarterback, but the quick release, the running forward, throwing the ball away.
Yeah. Everything.
Frankie, I think he had 2 first downs or 2 or 3 first downs on his feet. Hey, come on. I mean, all you got to do is run forward. I think he can do that every game.
And I'll tell you something else. Something else happened, GreenBean, and I don't know if you noticed it. There was a play down by the goal line. He didn't get much yardage, but it was a designed run. He runs out to the left. He couldn't go anywhere. There was nowhere to go. And he said, I'm putting my fucking shoulder through your body, and I don't give a damn what happens. And he did. And that's the kind of Zach that I wanted to see. Be a man and just do that. Put your shoulder through somebody. Now he got blown up. It wasn't,
he got crushed. And that was a helmet-to-helmet tackle, by the way, on that play that you're talking about.
So it didn't work out great. And we picked up a couple of yards, and he's not exactly Josh Allen, but the effort, the idea, I'm putting my shoulder down. I'm going to try to go through you, because the teammates, this is the point of it. What do you think that his teammates are going to think watching that film back? Oh, we got a leader here. We got somebody who's going to put his shoulder down when it's time to go. right? And to me, that's the exciting part of that play. Even though it wasn't really successful, it was the process. It was, here's a
Yeah.
guy, okay, he turned a corner maybe with this.
Yeah, I think you're right too, man. And on that play, he gained, I think he got 5 yards or 4 or 5 yards on
1,
that
2,
play. So,
maybe
but
2.
yeah, but right. It's the mindset, right? Like
Yeah.
where Zach, as soon as there was any sniffing of pressure, he took off backwards,
Right.
like trying to create something. It's like, no. I mean, if that happens once, like a crazy play where you kind of juke 4 guys, okay, once, not 7 times in the same game. And so, yeah, I mean, look, you saw it. It was like, dude, it's a 3rd and 4, and there's 8 yards in front of you. Go get it. Just fucking take it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he seemed to do that. And yeah, I think, look, man, the pressure with the Patriots game, I think it's there, but I don't think it's negative pressure. I think we now know, like Zach said right after that game, he said, all I can say is, look, we play them in 2 weeks. So I don't want to, we play them again. Don't worry about it. So he was kind of, you know what I mean? Focused.
And the Patriots fans laughed and said, what are you going to do? 7 interceptions next time?
Yes.
But from their perspective, I mean, they picked him off 4 times last year. They picked him off 3 times this year. So you get it. And it's like, okay.
And in between, they beat us 54-13.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So it's like, okay, we get it. But now, yeah, if he can just play like he did against Buffalo, we should be all set.
Yeah. So anyway, I think it'll be we cannot get swept by the Patriots. We can't. We just can't. You know what I mean? We got to beat them. Ablab checking back in. Thank you, Ablab. He says defense should be turbulence or the no-fly zone. So going with your theme, Frankie, the as above, so below, like we're the Jets. It would have to be something Jetsy. Now, the last time we had 2 names, right? One was the sack exchange, of course, and that didn't play off the Jets thing. It played off the New York thing. The other one that we had was, and a very short-lived, it was the Sons of Anarchy, because we had Wilkerson, Richardson, Snacks Harrison. Wasn't there another one in there?
That was a stretch.
Copels.
And Copeland.
Yeah, but so that's where that came from. And it did very short-lived, but you could see that was a play off their names. So I think something like turbulence or no-fly zone. I saw another one in there saying like warthogs, something like that. That might have been Knobcraft or one of these guys. I forget. Jim Pock, maybe. But yeah, I mean, what do you think of turbulence, Frankie?
I like no-fly zone better. Turbulence is weird. I mean, think about it. We have 3 of the top 15 cornerbacks rated. 3 of the top rated cornerbacks, DJ Sauce and Michael Carter. I mean, these guys, I think it's top 15 or top 18. To have 3 cornerbacks in the top 18 or 15 is crazy. Crazy. Nobody has that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Oh, look, Modine's here. Hey, man, we were wondering about you. I was wondering when you'd come back. He was here after the Pats game early. He was like one of the first guys in here. No, I don't know. Hey, guys, let Modine have it, everybody. Okay? He deserves it. He knows. He'll eat it. I think he will anyway. He's going to talk about how the Patriots are going to beat us next week or whatever. But, yeah. So anyway, man, Dick Cramp, what's up, Dick Cramp? Good to see you. You guys are awesome. So yeah, I don't know, man. No fly zone. It's going to be something. I feel like it's going to be something lost in the saucy. I think it's going to come out of that angle. That's what I'm feeling. You know, the lost in the sauce defense. I don't know, something like that. Jason Edwards, thank you for the super chat. He says, you might have covered this topic, but I hope JFM pairs up with Q95 as our D tackles with JJ and Huff and Lawson on our edge, sack exchange 2.0. Well, this is interesting. And look, Frankie, just so you know, I want to show you guys. I'll get right back to Jason's thing here, but just to support that, I actually had this queued up. Look at that. See, I was ready. Now we'll get back to your comment instead, Jason. But on that, see, here's the thing. We have been calling for Elijah Moore to go in the slot for a year and a half. The Jets are doing it. Now we'll see if it works and whatever. But another thing we've been calling for is for JFM to play most of his plays, if not all, at the 3-tech. Inside, he's actually very slippery and quick for a 288-pound man, where on the edge, while he's strong enough to do it, he doesn't have that step, that burst, that get off, that bend. He doesn't have those traits. So we're wondering why he doesn't. Now, JFM's been playing very, very well for us and has had, outside of the 2 penalties that we all talked about ad nauseum, he's actually been quite the impact player for us this year. Very, very solid. So it's hard to complain about it. But now that Sheldon Rankins, who's another one who's playing very, very well, he's injured. And there's been kind of a coming out party, Frankie, for, like Jason is saying, Jermaine Johnson and Bryce Huff, who was inactive for the first 3 weeks for some reason. But so they figured that out too. You got those 2 guys. Keeping them off the field is kind of silly, right? And then you have Sheldon Rankins, who's not there, like using Solomon Thomas and Nathan Shepard there. And you know what I mean? It just seems like this is a great opportunity to just slide JFM inside next to Quinnen and use JJ and Huff or some combination. Then you have Lawson and Michael Clemens backing him up on the right side. Do you think this is what we're going to see, Frankie? Or do you think it is kind of like a pipe dream? Or, like, where do you stand with the JFM, especially now that Rankins is hurt?
Well, yeah, I would do it. I would slide him inside because I've been saying they should do that since the offseason. But on the other hand, you can hardly argue, depending on what you look at. We either have the first best defense. PFF has us number 1. Other metrics have us number 1. DVOA has us number 6. So, at this point, I have to trust Ulbrich. It's not like I have a terrible defense and we can criticize. I personally would have done this from the beginning. They didn't, and now he's gotten results, so I can hardly criticize. We got 6 sacks in the last game. How much better do you want it to be? You want us to get 16 sacks? I mean, so it's working the way it is. I'll trust Ulbrich at this point. He's guided the defense to – I trust DVOA the best, so I'd say the 6th best defense in the league. So, I don't know. But now Rankins is injured. I mean, I would, but will Ulbrich? I don't know. It seems logical. I mean, otherwise, you got to call up a tackle. What are we going to have? Tanzel Smart out there? I would just give more D tackle snaps to JFM. That's what I would do.
Yeah. It seems simple. So I'm with Jason. Think of that alignment rather than having a Nathan Shepard and a Solomon Thomas in there as a de facto starter. Think about that. Jermaine Johnson or Bryce Huff, JFM, Quinnen Williams, and Carl Lawson all on the field together. Like that's prime. Yeah. I hope that's what we do. Now, I want to apologize. I skipped, I kind of just zipped through. And so I jumped over 4 super chats to get to Jason's. I backed it up. So here we are. Please accept my sincere apology. Thank you, Jeremy, for catching me because I wouldn't have caught it. I thought I was all hunky-dory. So, D-Don, thank you for the super chat. Nobody talks about Braden Mann saving field goal. I'm not sure what that means, Frankie. The Braden Mann saving field goal.
I don't know what that means either.
That's probably why we don't talk about it, D-Don.
The Bills kicker did miss a field goal. The hold. Man made a great hold. That's true, D-Don.
Oh, he did?
On the last field goal, it was, Hennessy. Let's criticize Hennessy, our long snapper, up and to the left. He snaps it, and man catches it.
Gotcha. That's right.
For Zerloin. Gotcha. That's true, Didon. Yeah. Braden Mann. How about that? Slipping on the kickoffs, saving field goals. The guy's doing it all.
Yeah. Now, just so Super Dario, we read and talked about your super chat pretty extensively. I don't know where you went. Went to go make a bacon cheeseburger or something. But yes, we did see it and we talked about it robust style, if I remember correctly. I don't remember what it was at this point, but yeah, we definitely talked about it. But unless you have another one coming, in which case I didn't get to it yet. But Mr. D checking back in. Now, Jeremy, am I good? Is this the proper order here? Okay, thank you. Jets D hype name, Green Goblins or the Mean Greens. I tell you what, those are up my alley. See, I understand the Jets thing. And obviously, I love the New York Jackets. I think that's just brilliant. But I'm like kind of a quirky dude. You know what I mean? I like something like the Green Goblins or the mean greenies. You know what I mean? Something like that.
Wait a minute. We never finished uniform talk. The point about the uniforms is we're phasing out green. That's the thing that's getting lost here. I think Saleh, the Johnsons, they're phasing out the green.
I don't.
Are they setting us up for new colors and new uniforms next year and maybe a new logo? We have not worn the pickle pants. We have not worn the green jerseys. Not one time this year. They're phasing them out.
Well, we're going to wear them this week. You heard it here first, everybody. Well, you know what? Look, I mean, I'll tell you what. While I don't think that is the case, and I could be thinking with my heart, right? I love the green. Look at behind me. I got the green room, right? I would be troubled if they decided to eradicate green.
What if it's an accent color? I mean, there's a history to think about. So what if they just make it an accent color instead?
Look, if it's there,
I'm sorry to disturb you, GreenBean.
Well, because what is it going to be though, Frankie? I mean, is it going to be white? Is the main color?
It's going to be gunmetal silver, like a jet.
Gray. Hey, man. Now, do we have any gray? Now, Mr. D, maybe you know, Mr. D. Is there any gray? Did we do anything with gray yet?
No.
I feel like we talked about gray, but there's none, right? Did we do a gray face mask with the black helmet? What color's the face mask with the helmet?
The face mask was green, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Wacky. So I don't know, man. Yeah, I mean, I like the Green Goblins, Mr. D. I'm with it. I'd be very, very happy. Like Green Goblins, especially if we get like a lot of turnovers. Like if we continue, let's say the second half of the season, we're like the number one turnover team because we're good. I think we've had a turnover in every game, Frank.
We have like 10 interceptions.
It's really incredible. But let's say that like they call us that, like the Goblins, because we take the ball. You know what I mean? I'm with that. I like that. The Green Goblins. But the idea of phasing green out is spooky to me. But I mean, look, Frank, there's support for it right now. Clearly, they don't want to use it. Now, if that's because Saleh doesn't like green, or if it's because, hey, it's just he's superstitious and this is what's happening and we're going to do this as long as we can kind of thing. I don't know. There is the rumor that Saleh doesn't like the green jersey. Not that he doesn't like green. He doesn't like the way this jersey looks in green, which I have to agree. I mean, look, if I buy another jersey, I'm going to buy a white one. That's what I'm buying. You know, I have a black. I have two blacks. Thank Jeremy actually sent me a Becton black too. So I have that as well. But yeah, I don't know. I don't like the green jersey either. I don't like it. So anyway, we'll see how it goes. I think something to keep an eye on, guys. We gotta hold strong if they try to phase green out. I'd be pissed. I would. There's too much green around here. Now, Frankie, before I get to New York Jets 102, can you hear this? Did you hear anything?
Yes.
What was it?
Wah, 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 wah.
Okay, how about this one?
Applause.
What was it?
Applause.
Applause. Okay, how about this one?
Ooh, scary.
Oh, scary. Okay, good. So they're working. You know, it's weird. I haven't figured out how to get this so I can hear it. Like the headphones, I haven't figured it out, Frankie. The relationship it's not sound, so at least it works. Now listen. Now tell me, is this the music? Is that my intro music?
No, it is music, but it's not your intro.
It's not mine. All right, so now I got to go to another thing. All right, so I'll lower that. Now it's lower, right? It's out.
Yeah.
So I go like this. It's in and out. Okay. All right. Anyway, sorry. Thank you for humoring me. I wanted to just make sure I'm moving up in the world, guys, but I don't know how to do it. You know what I mean? I'm a bottom feeder. You know what I mean? So it's tough for me. New York Jets or Jets New York 102. Forgive me. Thank you for the super chat. He says there should be a graphic every week for the wide receivers who have ended up on the no-fly list, just like they did. Remember that 102 in 2009? They
But
put
there
up
is,
the
there
list.
is a lost graphic that Michael Nania produces. That's exactly like the Darrelle Revis one. If you remember, he took that one, took Revis's picture out, put his picture in, and it says "lost in the sauce." And then every week, who got lost? So that's I think taken.
All right. No, yeah, I'm sorry, Frank. Yeah, so look, Michael Nania from Jet X Factor, and he also is the co-host of the Cool Your Jets podcast from Jet X Factor. Yeah, that's really so. New York Jets 102 or Jets New York 102. Sorry again. They have it, so that'd be nice. We got to pull it out of there and use it. Let's make some Twitter. Frankie, if you can find it, send it to me or something. And I don't know where it is. I can't break
All right.
off. But yeah, I'll show everybody if we could find it tonight. If Wat2K or Jeremy, if you can find that and send it to us, I'll put it up on the screen. So Daniel Faust checking in. Hey Daniel, thank you. He says, I believe we will keep going up, up, up. Well, I think so too, Frankie. I mean, I feel pretty good about this team and what we're going to do. Now, Frankie, look, Brady Quinn chimed back in.
Oh,
He changed what he said. Right.
What
He said, I never said that they were going to go 0-9. I said that they wouldn't be favored, which is just, no, you didn't. You didn't say anything. Nobody gives a shit who's favored. It's not a take. Nobody cares. You know what I mean?
It's also worse if he said that, but he didn't. He tried to justify it later by saying, look, we're to be favored to win. And it's like, well, you're supposed to be an insider. So you're just going off the Vegas lines now? You're just another idiot at a bar talking? Why are we paying you all this money to be on television, Mr. Quinn?
Right. Well, and so now, but he checked back in and he said that the Jets would be lucky to win 3. He said I'm looking at it he's like, they're going to win 3 games. Probably, I think he said the Lions, Bears, and Jaguars. He has us getting beat by the Vikings, by the Bills, by the Pats, by the Dolphins, and everybody else. So I don't even know I think the Seahawks are in there too. So he clearly thinks the Seahawks are going to be able to beat us as well.
Clearly not enough people have thrown tomatoes at him that he realizes that he needs to shut up. Like at some point, you just have to throw tomatoes at these people to the point where they just stop talking. Just stop talking.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. Wait. Anyway, so Knobcraft checking in with the super chat. Thank you, Knobcraft. I appreciate that. He says, did you guys see the picture of Zach as a girl? What a cutie pie. Do you think the energy I did not see that, Frankie, and I'm pretty grateful for it, actually.
And neither did I.
I don't want to be attracted to Zach. He's cute as a button as it stands, Knobcraft. I don't want to add to this. Do you think the energy from the win in Buffalo will carry through the bye? I'm desperate to see the Patriots taken behind the woodshed in Foxborough. Well, that's the thing. Historically, especially recently, last 5 years, we've come out of the bye atrociously. We get shellacked coming out of the bye. We've not performed well. What do you think, Frankie? Do you think we're going to keep this energy up? Or are we looking for a downturn? Look, the guy who flips the coin, you know that guy? He flipped the coin, been right. He has us losing to the Patriots this week. So what do you think? You think the energy is going to carry through?
I wouldn't worry too much about the energy. I'd worry about execution, which is a boring answer. But, if you watch the Patriots, their offense is god-awful right now. It's terrible. The points they had last game against the Colts, they had a punt blocked right at the goal line. They had the defensive scores. The offense does not look good at the moment, which is good for our defense. Our defense should be able to hold down that offense. Now, the question then becomes their defense, which is good, very good, especially that Judon character. Can somebody stop Matthew Judon, for God's sakes?
I'm telling you, he's
and
good.
Josh Uche, so their defense is. So can our offense, with young Zachary, execute at a high level like we did against? really the question. I think defense will do well. Our special is always pretty solid when Braden Mann's falling down. And it really comes down to, I mean, the matchup will be their defense, very, very good. They sacked Sam Ellinger 9 times. 9 times. Now, that's the Colts. They got problems, lots of problems.
Yeah. I was going to say, who the hell's Sam Ellinger? I couldn't even find him in my Rolodex.
They're playing Sam Ellinger. They fired Frank Reich. They hired Jeff Saturday. They're a gigantic mess. They might be tanking. I don't know. But nonetheless, the Patriots had 9 sacks against Ellinger, 9, and they pressured him a bunch more. So can we hold up? That's going to be the match in that game. Our defense should, hold their own, and it's how well can our offense do against that defense. So interesting game, very interesting game.
Yeah.
But if it plays the way he did against Buffalo, then I'm pretty confident.
Well, here's what I think. I think that we are going to come out furiously. That's what I think. I think that the energy is absolutely going to carry through. Now, good. I'm scared. I can't tell you I'm not. I'm afraid that it's going to be a 35-6 drubbing. All the past trauma that I've been through. I'm afraid. But what I think is likely to happen is that the Jets are absolutely gunning for this game to make them pay for what they did, for how they escaped from us.
I mean, we don't even.
And I think we're going to kick their ass.
All we got to do is play solid. They're not that great, but if you make mistakes, they'll capitalize on them. So you just got to play solid. You don't even need to. I mean, we're going to come out, hair on fire like we always do, because that's a solid team. That's just what you do when you play for solid. And
well, it's interesting. Last year,
the defense is going to be roaring. I think, we're going to be on D. The question is, can the offense execute like we did against Buffalo? Hopefully, and if we can, we'll be in good shape.
Well, look, last year we came out flat in many games. Like that was one of the issues that we had. We just came out lifeless.
Or did we just suck? Or did we just suck and have no players?
I think it was I think it was a combination of things. We suck, but even like the offense, we had Elijah Moore, Michael Carter, Zach Wilson, like AVT. We had a lot of talent on there. Corey Davis, whoever.
Then Zach Wilson's throwing. I mean, you're not too great when Zach's throwing 4 picks.
Well, no, I couldn't agree more. But I'm just saying, but there were numerous games last year where we came out and we just looked lifeless. This year, I haven't seen that yet. I mean, we've gotten scored on. We've, had a couple 3 and outs, but we haven't looked lifeless yet. And that to me is a good sign, Knobcraft. I think we're going to come out and I think the energy is going to carry over. I think we win this game and I think we win it handily. That's how I am feeling. Again, terrified to even talk like that. I hate it. There's Drake London. Finally, I get some fantasy points. All right, Jason Edwards, thank you for the super chat. He says, I believe the loss to the Pats and beating the Bills worked better for us in the long run. Saleh will have this team ready. These young guys have an edge. Well, and that's what we were talking about, Frankie. It's like, I don't know if we beat the Pats. I think we probably lose to the Bills. I think it was we were going to get one or the other. I don't know. I mean, I don't have anything to prove that, of course. But I think that loss to the Patriots actually created a sense of urgency heading into the bye that we might not have had. I mean, we were supposed to lose to the Bills, right? Everybody knew we were going to lose to the Bills. We weren't supposed to beat those guys. But I think it might work out in our favor because now we have that anger going into the Pats game, man. You think that it worked out in our favor?
Well, I mean, it's hard to say. I don't know. It's hard to say. Hard. I think we are the better team, but we gave away that game to the Patriots. We were the better team, I think. The Bills, I mean, it's hard to assess that game. If Zach Wilson's going to throw 72% completion percentage every game, I mean, we're going to be at the top. We're going to be a top team. He played fantastic, and it wasn't perfect. He still had some misfires and overthrew Denzel, and that diving catch that Denzel almost had too would have been fantastic, but it was a great throw. But, a couple of mistakes. But, I mean, and his guy. I mean, is Zach Wilson that guy now for good? Because if he is, we can beat anyone. And it's not,
Totally.
and we're gonna always come out with our hair on fire. It's not gonna be. We don't even have to be angry and super angry, because that's when you get the Justin Hardy stuff, when he tries to be Mr. Tough
Totally.
Guy and angry and throwing people around. It's like, dude, just tackle a guy and that's it. That's all we need. Be excited about it, but you don't need to like punch a guy, actually in the face. You can just just tackle
Yeah,
him.
no,
And
you're 100% right. And that's what that anger shit does. It's like being a calm, cool, collected group is the way to do it, man. Whenever you get hot, that's
when you know you're good.
when you know you're good, right? That's when
Yeah.
like helmet to helmets, late hits,
Yeah, right.
unnecessary roughness. That's when all that stuff happens,
Yeah.
and you don't need it. It doesn't help. And yeah, man, I think we just got to be like laser focused and angry, like like focused anger, like intensity, let's call it, instead of anger. Thomas Cahill checking in with the super chat. I think, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I missed Super Dario. You're next. It just, I scrolled past it. My bad. Has anybody noticed the refs have started to show more respect for the Jets? I have not noticed that, Thomas Cahill. But what I have noticed, and I said this in a recent video, Sauce Gardner, while I do believe that last play of the game was not pass interference on Sauce Gardner, I think that if it was anything, it was on Gabriel Davis. So I'm not saying that, but I do think that Sauce has had a lot of coverage plays where it could have been called. Some contact, some hand fighting, things like that. They could have called Sauce a couple times. And I really honestly believe that the NFL has already identified Sauce Gardner as kind of a superstar potential. Like I really believe, and they're giving him like that benefit of the doubt. Remember like Revis, Frankie? He almost never got called for pass interference because number one, he was a relatively clean player, but he was Revis. So they didn't throw pass interferences on him very often. They gave him that benefit of the doubt. And I think Sauce Gardner is getting that. Outside of that, I don't know if the penalties are going down. Have you sensed that?
No, I don't think so. I think if you watch a bunch of other football games, I mean, the refs are pretty consistent. But the difference between, think about Revis and Cromartie, right? Revis and Cromartie were very good corners. Revis was much better, but
Right.
but they had different styles. Revis was the smooth criminal. Revis would come into your house like Mission Impossible. He'd be hanging from the ceiling. You wouldn't even know he's there, and he takes your stuff, and you don't even know what happened. Smooth criminal, Mission Impossible. Antonio Cromartie comes in through the front door. He's your dog. He takes everything over and takes your stuff. They're stealing stuff, intercepting the ball, but they happily did. And that's the same thing but the nice thing Sauce is he has Cromartie's body, but he has Revis's smooth criminal style.
Totally,
There's
man.
a style to it. There's a skill to it. And Sauce has it. Well, I saw it in college. I identified it then. Lots of people did. That he's a smooth criminal. He's very smooth in what he does, especially for his size. That's very unusual. So there is a little bit of that, but a lot of it is just the skill that he has and the way that he plays.
Yeah, and I think, man, look, that whole thing that he does, and Frankie just said it very, very well, but like, the way that he plays, with watching the eyes and the whole thing, and he's excellent, man. He's an exceptional talent. I can't even believe how impressed I am with how quickly he's kind of shown up and been what he is, man. I think it's just it's kind of unbelievable. Super Dario checking in with the super chat. He says JD might be a contract whiz, but do you think he could keep all 2021 and 22 draft picks when contracts expire? The 2020 class stayed because not 2020, the 2000 class stayed because Herm and Chad are rocks. Well, I don't think if they're all superstars, let's say, who is it? So we got Zach Wilson, AVT, Elijah Moore, Michael Carter II, Breece Hall, obviously Sauce, Garrett Wilson. I don't think there's any way in hell you can keep all of them, especially if they keep playing.
That's the idea of the pipeline, right?
That's the idea
of the pipeline. You
Right.
can't keep everybody. You identify those who are your foundational pieces, you extend them, and you do the contract in certain ways. But some guys are going to have to go, and we just have to get used to that. And that's the idea with the pipeline. But that's also why every Jet fan should try to make Woody Johnson as rich as possible. I'm going to let that sink in.
Why make him as rich as possible? Talk to me.
Because the more money that Woody Johnson and the Johnsons have sitting around, the more we can play with cash over cap. So we can give all these guys big fat signing bonuses as big as possible so they get their money. But we spread it out over 5 years. But the problem with that is if you have a bunch of those, your owner may not have the money sitting in the bank and or may not want to write five big fat checks. So we should really want Woody Johnson to be as rich as possible for that reason. And you should also never, ever buy any Gillette products. Find out who what company Stephen Ross owns and don't buy any of their products. Why? If you have any Gillette products in your house, you're helping the enemy.
You're helping the enemy. Right. Yeah. Thank you, Frankie. Thank you. So that's good. Now, the good news is Johnson & Johnson we have plenty of money. So we got to make sure we keep it going. If you're going to spend money on a bandage, you better make sure it's a Band-Aid. If you're going to go get yourself a cotton swab, make sure it's Q-tips, huh? If you want no tears,
go to as many concerts as you can at MetLife. They also
there you go.
Life. That's a separate business. Go to concerts, go to soccer games, whatever. Go there. That's more money for them. They at stadium, all the events on, etc. Go to those.
Well, and look, we're not saying to force yourself to spend money. That if you're tight, but if you're going to do it. If you're going to go to one, then pick that one. And I agree, right? We want our guy to be able to feel great and loose about paying for whatever we want. Now, I hope we haven't seen Joe Douglas have to kind of squeeze and magically get all these guys under the cap. Up until now, he's kind of had money. You know what I mean? Like we've had, nice open coffers, so to speak, overflowing to some degree. So it's going to be interesting. But again, like Frankie said, it's about using these next 3 drafts to have guys in the wings so you make your priority signing. So if it's Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson, then you want Garrett Wilson, you let Elijah Moore go, and you got a guy to fill in, and that goes across the board. I don't think we're keeping everybody, though. I think that's –
look at Matthew Judon. Look at Matthew Judon. How did the Ravens let that guy out of the building? How? Because they had other people, and they said, all right, Judon, goodbye. And the Patriots said, thank you very much. And geez, what a difference that guy makes.
Well, yeah. Look, they did it with CJ Mosley. They always let a guy go when it's time for him to get his big contract. Not everybody. They keep some guys, of course, but they're always happy to let somebody go when they go get the huge contract. And then they get the comp pick for it. Look, they had, what was it? 6 4th-round picks this year? 6.
Yeah. They took every tight end.
Everybody?
They took every tight end that GreenBean liked.
That's right.
Every single one.
That 4th round was like everything I wanted. You know what I mean? I'm like that. Oh, it was GreenBean land. It really was. It's like all those guys. They had 6 4th-round picks. Now, some of that was because of trading. They did get some, and obviously one was their regular old 4th-round pick. But it's the comps. That's how they did that. And so letting guys go is part of the game. When you get over the hump, that's when, like, dude, the Patriots, we did this before. The Patriots have had 3 to 4 extra picks a year for the past 15 years. 3 or 4 extra picks. There were a couple years that they had numerous extra thirds. Think about that. We had to trade Leo Williams to get a third. You know what I mean?
Bastards.
It's amazing.
They just get it free. They just get it for free. Here
just
you go.
They keep letting guys go. And what happens when the Patriots let guys go? They suck elsewhere. And they even got Trent Brown back.
Yeah.
He went, got rich, sucked, came back. Now it's crazy, man. So that's what we want to get over the hill to get on that side of things where you have your pipeline going and you let guys go, even though you love them and for your fan favorites, but you got to let some guys go. And then we get comp picks for them. And that's how you That's how you stock the cupboards, everybody. Thomas Cahill checking in. Oh, wow, it's 10:21. Holy shit, Frankie. I got to get Y2K. I'm going to do some trivia and stuff. This is a crazy night. We'll even see if maybe Jeremy wants to come on too. Thomas Cahill, has anybody noticed? Oh, we did this one. I did this one already. Jeremy, why don't you tell me, man? Because I skipped it. That's right. Mr. D checking back in. Wow, Mr. D, huh? You're on fire tonight. Gangrene Goblins, Frankie. What do you think of that? You buying?
Nice.
Gangrene Look, Slaugo, Gangrene Machine. Green Goblins go hard. Gangrene, not gang. Okay, I can't say that. Gang Gray. All right, gang. Okay, this is what they're commenting to what we were saying before. Weed the People 732. Thank you. I don't see a comment, buddy, but I do appreciate it. Thank you so much. I see Braden's here. What's up, Braden? I see you guys are having some fun. Dio's here. This is good. Big Green's in the house. What's up, Big Green? Thomas Cahill checking back in, Frankie. GreenBean, the reason the Pats game is so important is mathematically our playoff chances increase tremendously. Absolutely. Don't get me wrong. I understand.
Division games,
totally.
yeah.
And that's what he was saying, like we win and we're in. I mean, think about this. If we win this game, Thomas, and I know you already know this, but just to ponder with us, we are 3-1 in the division. 3-1 in the division. Dude, we haven't won a division game in 5 years or whatever it is. 3-1. I think the last time was the Patriots, right? In 15. Wasn't that it? Maybe I'm off. Maybe there's one more in there somewhere. But 3-1 in the division. What that does, and obviously it pushes them down. That's the great thing about divisional games is, you know, when you win, when you beat one, it goes, it's a win for us and a loss for them. So it's kind of more bang for the buck. You know what I mean? But yeah, dude, I think we could conceivably run the table, everybody. Again, I'm scared. I don't want to, I'm freaking out a little bit, but I'm ready. I'm happy with this team, Thomas. I gotta say, I believe in us, and we're getting Fant and Mitchell and some of these guys back. We made. What do you think about Oboye, Frankie?
Played better than I thought he would. That's for sure.
Now think about this. That guy was a first-round pick. He was a disappointment, and he's been bouncing around the league so much so that he ended up on the Texans practice squad. The Texans practice squad. That's like one of the lowest places you can go. Now, in fairness, they do have a very, very good right tackle down there. So there's that, I believe, and a left tackle too. So there's that. But getting him off the practice squad and putting him on the team, what do you think about this, Frankie? Do you think maybe we found our Connor McDermott replacement? I think he'd be fine being a backup, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, if you put him on the 53, he's going to be super happy. You know, that's where you want to be. You don't want to be on the practice squad.
Right. So I think maybe he's found a place with us. I think he's playing fantastically. Now, there was a few plays I noticed that he got beat. But that's going to happen. But at the same time, I mean, we haven't look at last year, the Greg Van Roten stuff. I mean, there were numerous times it was like our line literally collapsed. You know what I mean? It just collapsed. We haven't seen that. Even with
we replaced Van Roten with LDT, who we thought was a big upgrade, and he was. And then LDT went into the offseason and nobody offered him a contract. What does that tell you?
What does that tell you? And look at Nate Herbig. Nate Herbig's been a godsend. Herbie.
Thank God.
Jesus. I'll tell you, man. All right, we're trying to catch here. Let me oh my God, am I caught up? I'm caught up. Hey! Let me see whatever this is. Is that celebratory?
It's not.
What was it?
It didn't play.
Oh, okay, here we go. Is the music still playing? No? All right, Frankie, what is this?
Sounds like mice.
Crickets?
Crickets, mice.
All right, how about this one? This is going to be the celebration sound.
That was boom.
Okay, well then, good. Joke's on me, Frankie. Okay, Jets Forever says, Herbig been that y'all late. I don't know what that means, Jets Forever. But let's bring on Y2K if you're ready. We can get into some Jets trivia. We're on a roll. You ready, Y2K? All right, let's see. I think he said yes. I think you're freezing up too. I was weird. Anyway, Y2K, everybody. Welcome back to the show, sir. How you doing?
Happy Friday, everybody. At least it feels like Friday already by now.
Yeah. Okay. Friday it is. I'm in.
Yeah, this has been a fun show. I got to say, Jets fans, this time, typically every season, we're looking at mock drafts. Our favorite website is Tankathon. Now we get to jump on playoff simulators. We get to have our last stress-free weekend of the year coming up this Sunday. Enjoy while you have it, because it's going to be a whole lot of stress the rest of the way. And we should all embrace the stress. We've been waiting a long time for this.
Hell yeah. And that's the thing.
Let's go Vikings.
Let's go Vikings.
Go.
Now let me say this, Y2K. Now, this is not what we're shooting for, right? This isn't, but it's interesting. This year, if Josh Allen is injured, he's the third quarterback that we've knocked out. Like, whether you look at Bridgewater, you look at, obviously, we ended the Trubisky. He'll never be a starter again. We ended that. We ended his whole starting career. And then Josh Allen, it's like this defense of ours, again, not that we're trying to hurt people, but we're getting to the quarterback, man. What do you think of that? You think Josh Allen is gonna be injured going into the Viking games, or is he gonna muscle through it, in your opinion?
I definitely think he'll try to play through it. I could see a lot more run designs being thrown for him, because I'll tell you what, the Vikings got a pretty fierce pass rush. Darius Smith, he's the real deal. He's fierce, and he will hit Josh Allen and hit him hard. Yeah. I think this is a situation where the Bills, believe it or not, have to run the ball a lot. They traded for Naheem Hines for a reason. Go ahead, Frankie.
But why would Josh Allen even play? I mean, why would you chance it? If you're the Bills, does he need to play this game? Like, let it heal and then come back. If he plays this week, it seems very, very risky to me. I mean, why would you? You got to think long term. I mean, I would be shocked if he played. Maybe he will.
Last time,
I won't be shocked.
This is a UCL thing. It's not like it's like a pitcher trying to throw with a UCL tear or something. It's like you can't, no matter how tough you are. Like,
that last pass of the game that he threw to Gabe Davis, I gotta say, looked pretty good. Looked pretty. Pretty accurate.
Well, he doesn't have a tear. He has I think he has a sprain. Yeah. Or something. So, but why?
I think Y2K's point that he'll want to play through it is definitely accurate. But whether or not that he does, like Frank is saying, this is, I mean, if you're gonna lose a game, out of all this is probably one of the ones that you would pick. If you had to lose one or two, you would pick this one, because for obvious reasons. But hey, man. One more loss for the Bills. I'm in. I love it. And last time this happened to Josh Allen, as you guys know, I think it was 4 weeks, right? He was out for 4 weeks with this one. So imagine that. He's out for 4 weeks. That'd be something. That could literally end up being a skid from the Bills. And all of a sudden, 2 or 3 losses in a row, 3, 4 losses in a row, 5. Oh my God. Can you imagine? 7-6. Holy shit. I'd love it. So Y2K, everybody's reminding us, don't forget about the Browns, Dom C, Dio, John Amarella. That's right. We don't want to forget about the Browns. We got to root for them, which I find hard to do, but not this week. Look at this. Oh, bad pass. Okay. So Y2K's got trivia for us, guys. We got last week's in impressive fashion, if I remember correctly. We did a good job. I don't remember what it was, but I feel good about it for some reason, Y2K. I don't remember what it is. But so we're going to do this. Y2K has a Jets-related question for us. We have a 4-minute time limit, but we ask you the honor system not to use search engines. Of course, we could all look it up and get it right. It's not that important. We want to see if we actually can get it from here. That said, Y2K, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. So this week it's a bye week, and typically during these game days, I try to pick a question that's focused on the opponent. Well, we're going to go back into NFL history a little bit here. Don't worry, Frankie. I'm not going to the 60s this time. We're going to look at the history of all-purpose yards. You know that in the top 20 of players who have accumulated the most all-purpose yards in the history of the NFL, 4 of them have played for the New York Jets. Who are those 4 players? And your time starts now.
Okay, so the top 20 in what? And the 4 of them are the Jets?
All-purpose yards. That's running,
All-purpose
receiving, returning, all yards.
Brad Smith.
Brad Smith,
I have
Leon Washington.
Jets take. I have no energy in my voice. Really? I think he's
I
kidding.
think you sound fine.
I hope he's kidding. All right.
I think you're good.
Brad Smith, Leon Washington,
Leon Johnson. Ooh, all-purpose. You know what I think?
And Chad Morton. No.
Well, right. No, right. I think maybe like a Richie Anderson or a Gerald Soule. I think one of those guys. They would pass and run and all that kind of stuff. So they doubled up too. I think maybe a Richie Anderson or a Gerald Soule. What do you think, Y2K?
Richie Anderson is not correct.
Gerald Soule is?
Gerald Soule is not correct.
Why'd you do it?
Curtis
like that?
Martin.
You gave me hope. Why'd
There you go.
do it like that?
Curtis Martin is number 16 on the all-time list with 17,421 yards.
Dom C checking in with one I feel pretty good about. LaDainian Tomlinson.
Absolutely. Number 10 all-time with 18,456 yards. Number
Frank
1 on the
Gore.
list, by the way, is Jerry Rice. For anyone
Frank
wondering.
Gore.
Number
now,
5
Ryan
all-time.
Ryan Jett also said, just to make sure you get your credit, he said LT as well. There was a bunch of guys that actually beat Dom. PJC, Ryan Jett also got Curtis Martin. So some guy and some other guys. So there we go. So, all right. So we have Curtis Martin. We have LT. And did you say Frank Gore?
Yeah, Frank. I do call him LDT, but yeah, Frank Gore had 19,992 yards, just 8 yards short of 20,000. Number 5 all time. So you got 3 out of 4. All right, Hawk says Hawk doesn't understand the question because he's stoned.
All right. Well, we'll help you out, right?
Watch the Hawk when you feel better. Watch the replay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, look, there's the most all-purpose yards in NFL history. In the top 24 of them played for the Jets.
Right.
It kind of sucks, though, right? Like LT, who I do think was a Jet. I mean, he's got Jet tattooed on his leg, so he was definitely ended his career with us and everything. But Frank Gore, I don't really feel like was a Jet. I think that was bullshit. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I just don't feel.
I know it was a rental.
Jeremy's saying I agree with Jeremy. Freeman McNeil.
Freeman McNeil is incorrect.
How about Ablab with the John Riggins?
Oh, John Riggins is a good one, but it is incorrect.
Now, so we threw a bunch at you in the beginning, right? Brad Smith, Leon Washington, Leon Johnson. Those guys are all out?
Correct. They're all out.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
Jim Pock saying Sean Green. Now, Jim Pock, that must be a joke. Sean Green, he didn't do much. Oh, Joe Smalls has a Le'Veon Bell.
Oh,
it is not Le'Veon Bell.
That's a good answer, Joe Smalls.
That's a good answer. Oh, let me check time. You've got 45 seconds left.
Oh, Thomas Jones.
Turn it up. Thomas Jones is incorrect.
Matt Forte.
Matt Forte is incorrect.
Frank Gore, we did that one. Art Monk.
Art Monk, good guess. Incorrect.
Bilal Powell.
I'm checking
Brett
the chat.
Clark.
I'm going to check the chat.
I'm just using the chat. Brandon Marshall.
Brandon Marshall is incorrect.
Chris
Tim
Ivan,
Tebow.
Tim Tebow.
I'd have loved it if it was Tim Tebow, but not quite. Matt Forte, by the way, is 45 on the all-time list.
Art Monk's not it?
It's got to be a running
Art
back.
Monk. No, it is. I'm looking for Art Monk. Yeah, John Riggins was 62. Art Monk is 71. Leon Washington is 74. Thomas Jones is 75. Time is up.
CJ2K.
Nope. Brandon Marshall's 88. Don Maynard is number 90. Santana Moss is 100. But there is one player who is number 19 all time with 17,150 yards. Derek Mason, because he returned kicks for Baltimore for about 10 years before he came to the Jets.
Jeez, so he was on the Jets for like 5 seconds.
For like half a season.
Yeah. Oh
Derek
my God.
Mason.
And he was the main catalyst in conjunction with Plaxico Burress that Jericho Cotchery demanded to be released and let go. Derek Mason. I would have never came up with Derek Mason. Good stuff, Y2K. I'm impressed. That was a good one and really good involvement with the chat, man. You guys were on it. I was
Good job, chat, man. You
yeah,
found
for
some
real.
good names. You really did.
Totally. That was fantastic. Right. B-Trav says he forgot about him. Hawk forgot him. You're right.
We've all been trying to forget about him. That just didn't work. It did not work, man.
Yeah. So that was a tough one. Yeah, that was excellent. So RK, we got one wrong. We didn't get it this week, guys. So I know I shouldn't have to ask you this every week, but what is our record?
I think at this point,
13
9 and
0.
5. Yeah, exactly. Right.
13 and 0,
I think it was 9 and 4 last week, so now it's 9 and 5.
So we
got 3 out of 4. Correct. So don't we get 75% credit?
I think we should get partial credit, 1-2K.
Yeah.
I'll think about that. No.
Especially because the one we didn't get was Derek frickin' Mason. I mean, come on. Who would have gotten that? Nobody but
tough.
God himself could have gotten that correct.
I think Mike Tannenbaum would have gotten it right, actually.
That is a tough one. Like, really. I mean, I would have never found that. I was trying. I mean, again, I'm in Gerald Soul. I'm in Richie Anderson. Were they on the list, those guys?
Richie Anderson and Gerald Soul? I'll check. I've got the top. Man, I could go all the way up to the top 250.
You gotta have a guy. You gotta have a guy who just is putting up think about all those running backs putting up the numbers. I mean,
yeah. Well, the thing is, the reason, they had short careers, so probably not. I mean, 6 years, kind of 8 years. But Gerald Soul and Richie Anderson were they were good running backs and excellent in the passing game. So I don't know. I just think.
Yeah, Richie was never really the featured. Richie was never the featured player, though. I mean, he was a nice complimentary piece, but neither of them are in the top 250 all time on this list.
So
not enough volume.
Some guy is asking, who's the top 5 all time? Can you give us that?
Every team. Oh, and for
not every team,
you mentioned Chris Johnson. Yeah, you mentioned Chris Johnson. He's actually 103 on the list, so he was a little ways down. The top 5 all time. Number 5 is Frank Gore. We mentioned 19,992. Number 4 is Emmitt Smith, 21,564. Number 3, Walter Payton, Sweetness himself, 21,803 yards. Number 2, this is a good one. Number 2 is Brian Mitchell, 23,330 yards. And number 1, the great Jerry Rice, 23,546 all-purpose yards.
Wow. Wait, who was number 2?
Brian Mitchell.
Brian Mitchell and Jerry Rice. Interesting. No, where's Steve Largent on that list?
Steve Largent? Yeah, I could do a little search thing here. I'll tell you where he is. Steve
450th.
Exactly.
Oh, he was awesome.
He's right after Gerald Soul, actually.
Right.
I mean, you got to have volume. Volume's the key here.
Yes. Well, Steve Largent was the number one. I mean, Jerry Rice broke his records. I mean, Steve Largent was the shit.
That's right.
Steve Largent.
You guys
63 is number 63 all time. John Riggins was 62.
So there you go. 63, Frankie. It's very respectable.
Yeah. You got to have a long career too. I mean,
he did.
Yeah, like at least 10 years to even be close to this. Yeah, at least 10 years.
Yeah. So Jerry Rice. So let me see something here. I wanted to get to one more thing that I don't think we got to. Let me just double check. No, we actually got it. You know what? I'll ask you guys this one, and then we'll kind of wrap it up. You guys are awesome. I'll bring Jets Chaos on as well, so we can. If you guys have any questions, we're gonna phase it out next few minutes. So get your questions in. I'll bring Jeremy on. There he is, and let me ask you this: the first half of the season is over, and Y2K, I'll start with you. The first half of the season is over. We're a young team. We got a lot going on here. But what would you say our identity is? Like heading into the second half, like what do you think it is now and will be known for at the end of the year? Like who are the Jets? Because we haven't had an identity in a long, long time. So what do you think?
I would say the Jets are a throwback team. In a league that is so focused on offense and throwing the ball, this is a team that wins by playing great defense running the ball first and throwing the ball whenever they need to, and also very good special teams. When those things work, when this team doesn't beat itself, they can beat anybody in the league. And before the season, I think it was a situation where we hoped the Jets could compete with any team, but I don't know how many of us truly believed it. At this point of the season, we know there is not a team in the NFL that the Jets can't beat. And what a statement that is compared to where they were in August.
It's true. I'm telling you, it's like, look, and that's not to say we will beat everybody, but we can hang, man. Jeremy, what do you think our identity is right now this year? Or do we not have one?
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say it's happened already. And I like the way you're saying, if it keeps going this direction, like if we keep dominating on the defensive line and we really play like we did against Buffalo, and that's what's happening. And based on what we saw from Dom C, we all saw, you saw it with the Patreon, we saw it on my channel, the running game and the blocking schemes, and even with the Breece Hall down. I'm thinking 85 Bears, 86 Giants. I'm thinking crazy hardcore defense with quarterbacks that, the way Zach played against Buffalo, like Sims, Jim McMahon, the guy who, when he has to, can get it done, but hardcore running, great defense. Like Adam said, throwback team, 1985, 1986, those
Throwback.
teams that I grew up watching as a teenager.
Amazing. Dude, that's a pretty bold take there, Frankie. 85 Bears, 86 Giants. Holy shit.
If it went like this.
Well, no, and I understand how you're saying it. Of course, like, look, man, we don't know what the hell the rest of the season holds for us. And it's, we're not jumping off a cliff here, from 4 wins or 6 wins over 2 years to all of a sudden we're the 85 Bears. But it's like, when you try to find out, like, what is this team? Do we have an identity yet, or are we not there yet? So, Frankie, what do you think? Do we have one? What do you think it is? What do you think it'll be at the end of the year?
Well, I do have some news. That is that the NFL is now Fangio land. So I think the NFL now is Fangio land. And in Fangio land, what you try to do is you take away the explosives. So what you're seeing scoring way down. You're seeing teams struggle to score like they used to. You're seeing a lot of terrible games on Thursday night and Sunday night, and nobody can score, and it's field goals. It's because the NFL has become Fangio land. And the good news is, to win against Fangio land world, you have to run the ball, and you have to have great defense, and you have to have special teams. And we're building that, because if teams are going to take away those explosive passing plays, like you used to have in single high coverage and all the different things, well, then there's only one choice. You have to run the ball, you have to play defense, and you have to throw when you need to get first downs. And that seems to be what we're doing. Right. So the style that we're creating seems to be perfectly crafted to win in this new NFL. This is the way it needs to be. And the good thing is that Saleh is an acolyte of Vic Fangio, and I think that's why he's built the team this way. Him and Joe Douglas and the whole, everybody. So the idea is that, we're going to do those things because that's the way the NFL is now. And if we're excel at it, which that's another exciting thing about Buffalo and all we did it without AVT. We did it without Breece Hall. Right. We did it without George Fant and Max Mitchell. And we did it with Ogwe and with Dwayne Brown playing as an old man with one shoulder, and we did it that way. And we beat the best or one of the best teams in football. So I think it's even more exciting than what Y2K and Jeremy said, because that's the environment of what we're doing. And we actually have a plan that can win in the environment that we're playing in. So I think it's even more exciting.
I love it. I love what you're saying. And not that I've ever heard Fangio land before, but I'll buy it. I'm in. Now, some guy thinks it's collecting recipes. So how do you guys feel about the collecting of recipes? Some guy. That's a fucking slam dunk. That's a slam
collecting
dunk.
Recipes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Collecting recipes. Oh, that's so funny. But
GreenBean, play the wah 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 music.
I know, where is it? Wait, hold on. Is that this one?
There we go. That's perfect.
There you go, some guy. I'm with Lise Niedermeyer, and it kind of dovetails with what all you guys are saying. I think it's blue collar, man. Pain. Like there was a play. I think it was, what the hell team were we playing? Packers, where they handed the ball to Jones, and Quincy Williams shot through the line, hit him about yard or two behind the line of scrimmage, and drove him backwards like 4 or 5 more yards. That is who we are. Like, dude, we're hitting, man. Like, no matter if they catch the ball, we're still hitting. How many times have we talked about that? By the end of the game, like, you can't just kind of pussyfoot around. Hey, they're going to make their plays. If they do, you make them pay. And then by the end of the game, they're either beat up or sometimes they're even freaked out. They hear footsteps, they get alligator hands, they turn their head too early. All that stuff because you let them know that we're bringing the pain. And I think that we're doing that, man. I think blue collar, ground pound defense with the ability to deep strike or carve you up through the passing game at any moment, I think is amazing, man. And our special teams, holy shit, our special teams. Snowball says we're Damage Incorporated. Adam S says, well, this team is built for the playoffs. Defense, run, fourth quarter bullies. I love it, Adam. Yes, Frank.
And that reminded me. And in addition to everything I said, also, it's also and what the last comment, it's also built for, guess what else? The cold weather. The cold weather. You don't want to be a deep bombing team when it's snowing out and it's 0 degrees and it's windy in Buffalo. You want to run the damn ball, right? So,
that's the truth.
It's perfectly built for late season success as well.
Yeah. Well, like in the New England game, one of my major gripes was the fact that we threw the ball. We dropped Zach back 44 times, and he threw the ball 41.
And 3rd and 2 and 3rd and 1. Let's have a come on, just run the damn thing.
Yeah. So I think obviously we don't want to do that. You want to have a much more balanced attack, and if you could even lean run, that would be obviously beneficial. But as we go in later into the season, like Frankie just said, that is so important, man. What do you guys think of James Robinson? Of course, we miss Brees. We're all gut punched when he went down, but Joe Douglas immediately grabbing him was fantastic. But we don't know what he's going to do. We don't know how he's going to mesh with the team. So far, Y2K, I think he's fucking pretty damn good, man. How are you feeling about James Robinson?
I was so down in the dumps after getting the news about Brees Hall and AVT. It was like one gut punch right after another. I didn't think JD would strike as quickly as he did, but it was the same day when those announcements came out that we heard about the trade for James Robinson. Now, truth be told, as a fantasy owner of James Robinson, I was very annoyed that his playing time had greatly diminished. But I knew we didn't have the same home run hitting ability. Like, we weren't going to see the Brees Hall runs, like the trap play against Green Bay, the long run against Denver. That wasn't going to happen. But I knew this was going to now become a team that could grind opponents down, control the clock even more than they could before. And my gosh, we saw it on that last drive against Buffalo. Those 3 runs in a row. We talked about how he can block well, which he has done, that he can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's done that too. Well-liked guy. And you know what? If it's going to be a 5th-round pick, if that's what it comes to, it's well worth it because, if we have to see Ty Johnson on the field, I'm glad he's the 3rd running back as opposed to the 2nd running back.
Yeah, man, totally. I would hate to see us have to depend on him. But listen, some guy, why did you delete that? It was beautiful, man. You don't have to delete that. And plus, we're on StreamYard. It's a whole different. So once you put it in there, we see it. It doesn't go away when you delete it. It goes away on YouTube, but it stays here. So I'm glad it didn't go away. Some guy that was beautiful. Now we got guys saying things like Green Bank casseroles. We got all kinds of fun shit happening. This is the gold. That's where the gold is. In fact, Gandalf recipes for, I think he wants to say sauce there. So that's pretty good. Frankie, what do you think about James Robinson? You think his role is going to increase? You think we're kind of seeing what he's going to be? What do you think's coming?
Yeah, I mean, more he gets acclimated, the less times we have to throw on 3rd and 1. Just give it to James Robinson, please. But yeah, he did really well, I thought, in this game. His carries were about the same as Michael Carter's. I would increase. I mean, Michael Carter had like 6.3 yards per carry. You might want to increased the number of times he carries the ball a little bit. Whereas James Robinson did good. He was about 4, I think, yards per carry. And he was slipping. If he could stop with the slipping, that'd be good. He was a little slippery out there. But yeah, I mean, what a great move by Joe. It was a perfect opportunity. We needed another running back for this team, and we got one. So
I love it.
I think he's good. And then next year, he's still here next year too.
He's still
when
here.
Brees comes back, he's still here.
And
why
his
not
contract will be $1.7 million. I think.
I mean,
perfect.
year.
Beautiful.
Perfect. Yeah.
Beautiful.
There's your RB3.
Right. And then you can, right, oh man, like at any given time, you can do whatever you want. And let me just tell you, Michael Carter is legit. Like Michael, all the talk about Brees and James, and rightfully so, but Michael Carter has been nothing but consistent. He's as slippery as you get. I don't know, man. I think Michael Carter I'm so happy that we have that guy in particular. I think he's amazing. And the fact that we're not just like bell cowing him, I think is going to be very beneficial for the long term. Ablab checking back in. He says, if Brees and AVT were healthy, would we be a championship team? Jeremy, what do you think? If AVT and Brees were healthy all year, and I'm one who believes that Brees was going to run away with, I should say, offensive rookie of the year. So you think if those guys stayed all year, you think we would gel enough to be a championship team?
I think we would have a much better chance to win a playoff game and be that Cinderella Cincinnati team. I'm thinking more we're going to prove it next year. We're going to get AVT back. We're going to get Brees Hall back, and we're going to get Becton back. And I know a lot of people, everybody wants to pound on this guy and beat him up. I believe he's young enough. He's going to recover from these injuries. And we're going to get this guy back, and he's going to be special because I watched him his rookie year, and I haven't given up on that. So I know that we have to treat it as if he's not going to play as far as getting the personnel, as if his knee might not be good enough. But I have a feeling he's going to heal. He's going to come back. And I think we're going to be a championship team next year, or I think we're going to be one of the teams competing. Like, it's not going to be a far-fetched thing anymore. I think we're going to be we're really good this year right now, and I think that identity is developing. And next year, I think we're going to go in and be very scary, and I think we're all going to have the right and not be crazy to start thinking that we can compete for a championship. And I think that Brees Hall and AVT are a big part of that when they come back healthy.
Yeah, I mean, look, the good news is that like Nate Herbig, who's not AVT, is playing lights out, man. I mean, what a fantastic signing he was. And obviously we're talking about James Robinson. And look, the more he plays with us and in our system, he can get better and better. I still don't think he's Brees. So at least we have that. But man, if those guys were here and shit, man, look, Elijah Moore hasn't even exploded yet. We haven't even gotten everybody in, and we're able to do this. I think we could definitely be a championship team. The only thing I'll say about that, Ablab, is that even though I thought, like, going into this season, I had no real aspirations to like winning a championship this year. You want to maybe compete for a playoff spot, or at least get 8, 9 wins, and the kind of, steady ascending building kind of a system here. But the fact that we are playing this good, like, capitalizing on that, you don't know what the hell's going to happen next year, man. Like, you never know from year to year. This could be the one year that we have a shot. So I think, man, do everything you can this year. And it looks like Joe Douglas is doing that, man, because that's what going out and getting James Robinson says to me. It's like, fuck no, we have something this year. And wouldn't that be some shit, everybody? Wouldn't that be some shit? We just sneak out from the depths and win the bowl.
I would like to comment to Ablab about something.
Sure.
Ablab, if Zach Wilson plays the rest of the year the way he played against Buffalo, I got some breaking news for you. We're a championship caliber team right now. Period. End of story. If, that's a big if, of course. If he can play at that level like he did against Buffalo and everybody else, the O-line, and, we have that. We're a championship team right now. Championship level. That's the truth. It's a big if. It's a big
Is that
if.
applause?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Good.
it's a big if, but I think that that's true. I don't see any reason. We have the 6th best defense in the league. We're ranked right now by DVOA the 8th best team overall. The offense having been so up and down as it has been, and we have a top 10 special team. Why can't we compete for a championship now if Wilson can continue to play like he did against Buffalo? Well, I don't see any
Yeah,
reason.
you talk about Zach Wilson having a 101 quarterback rating. If he
Right.
does that every week, if that's who he is every week,
That's what I'm
hell,
saying.
and you're right. It's a big if, but you're right. How are we not a championship team if you have a quarterback with a 101 quarterback rating every week
And everything
Yeah.
else?
and a great
And
defense?
imagine him with, he's already got the great connection with Corey Davis, but over the last 2 weeks, the Wilson to Wilson connection has become a thing. It is working. Imagine both of these guys on the outside. Now you put Elijah Moore on the inside and Braxton Berrios. Now you can really go to work. Then throw in a tight end like Conklin, who's getting better and better. This is what we talked about at the beginning. This many weapons, you can't take everybody away. But keep in mind, we want to run the ball first because this offensive line is very good at run blocking more so than pass blocking. But that even gets me that much more excited because if we have to run, we can run. If we want to throw, we can damn well throw as well. It all comes down to this offensive line playing as well as it has been recently. And that to me is the biggest surprise. Losing 4 tackles. It is amazing. Getting Tomlinson got off to a terrible start, but he's been picking it up a little bit. As this offensive line goes, the rest of this offense will go, and the rest of this team will go as well. Because I trust the team.
2K, on that note, could you imagine, like, just, Becton comes back and so this is a rough start, but he ends up having a career as a starter. So you have that, an AVT, a Becton with Breece Hall and Michael Carter and James Robinson. Can you fucking imagine?
Oh, I need a minute to think about that a little bit longer.
I can.
Last week.
Remember in the offseason when everybody was afraid that we were building a super team? Remember that?
Right.
Yeah, they were right.
I know all that hubbub about our draft and everything. And remember, most people came out and said the Jets, next to maybe the Ravens, Seahawks had a great draft, but it was the Jets. What we did, the maneuvering and everything that we did, we were among the finest drafts of the year. And now look at the impact those guys are having. But yeah, man, when you look at that and what we're able to do, man, I don't know. It's just riding that energy. Of course you had the PFFs. Oh my God, the Jets fucking proved that they suck drafting a running back, blah, 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 blah. You had those guys, but by and large, everybody was pretty positive, and you can see how positive it really is. And if Joe Douglas can just continue to get a handful of players each year that are impactful, oh my God, man. We could be talking about dynasty, everybody. 12 Super Bowls in a row. That's what I want. 14-3, right to the ball.
Why only 12?
But this is what we've been talking about since the 21 draft, is when we saw this taking form. Like we said, this is not about building a team to win a Super Bowl one year. This is about building an organization that can compete for years and keep refill. Like this is what we've been saying, and I think we're seeing it happen. I see, and that's why even with those injuries, as devastating as they were, I still said the future is still great. Nothing is impacting or changing that. We are a real organization with a real GM. We're being ran like an organization, like the Ravens, like the Steelers, like the Patriots, like Green Bay, that has a chance to be for the next 15 years. Every year we go into the season with a chance.
Yeah. It's amazing. Joe Douglas said he wants to build the best culture in sports. He wants players that hate to lose more than they love to win. He said speed creates pressure, pressure bursts pipes. He said all kinds of fun shit, and we're seeing it. We're seeing it. Jason Edwards checking in. What's that, Watsuke?
I was going to say, and by the way, I did mention Denzel Mims with the wide receivers. I apologize to any of the Mims fans out there.
Yeah,
but,
I know. I chose not to.
It's okay. No, totally okay. I didn't overlook him on purpose, and today you see something like the video on the Jets website. It's stupid, but they're asking, "What's your favorite Taylor Swift song?" And some of them are actually answering, and you see Michael Clemens just staring down the camera like.
Yeah,
And I literally sat back from my phone. I was actually
he's
just little
best.
stuff like that.
He probably said, "Is that death metal? If it's not death metal, I won't be listening to it."
He's like, "Shake it off, shake it off."
I see what
Jason
you did there.
Edwards checking back in. Thank you for the super chat, Jason. He says, "Think of next year with Breest, AV. Oh, that's kind of what we're doing here. Awesome. Becton as a super sub. Hopefully, it's like we are getting 3 first-round picks back, bananas, and that's in addition to our actual first-round pick. So we're going to have that. You know what's funny, Jason? I heard a conversation. It might have been Cool Your Jets. Maybe it was Robbie said, but I forget who it was. It might even been like CBS or something. They were talking about how Joe Douglas went out, like when he first got here, he identified his assets and what he could get for him. So he got rid of Jamal Adams, got rid of Leo Williams. Obviously, he followed that with Sam Darnold, and we made a couple of Steve McClendons and Avery Williamson and all that kind of stuff. And then he's even trading back in the earlier drafts, recouping thirds and fifths and sixths and all that kind of stuff. Because he had to get a roster of warm bodies that he could actually use, right? We had fucking garbage here. And now where we are, like, so we're used to having 2 firsts, 2 seconds, all this kind of shit, but we can't do that. Like, it's actually not beneficial to use your assets in that way, moving forward, to have 2 more firsts, to have like now settling back in and having like the 7 picks, maybe you get an extra, third or whatever it is, 7 to 9 picks. That's actually the more healthy way to continue moving forward, because we're seeing it this year. You don't have enough space. We got guys like Bryce Huff inactive for 3 weeks. You have guys like Denzel Mims inactive. And then who knows, we even have guys on the practice squad that could probably play for us. So at some point, you're going to overload the roster and it becomes prohibitive to your success. And the assets, because they end up nullifying themselves because you can't use them all. So this is actually really, really smart to see him kind of, like we saw this year, like he switched from like, moving back and accruing as many assets as he could to moving up and being aggressive, because we're now transitioning into that maintenance where we just add, a handful of players every year. As opposed to the big splash. I mean, I'm going to miss, the fun drafts with all those picks that we had and all that. But shit, I would trade that for a good season any day of the week, man. So, Jason, I'm with you, buddy. Dude, I don't know. I mean, look, I'm not counting on Becton or anything, but he's going to be 24 when he comes back next year. 24 years old. Like, I don't know. Imagine if he ends, even if he's a backup. Having Becton as a reserve, see if he could stay healthy all year, like through practice and all, because that's where he got hurt this year, fucking practice. So who knows? Ablab checking back in. JD is a student of Ozzy. We are going to do this. I could not agree more.
Not only that.
All right, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
Well, not only Ozzy Newsome, but also Howie Roseman. How Howie Roseman doing? Roseman doing okay? You didn't think he's doing okay?
You okay?
Doing okay?
Late no action.
Yeah.
But that's the other guy he learned under, Howie Roseman. I mean, he's JD knows what he's doing. There's just no 2 ways about it.
Yep. And I could not agree more, man. I mean, like, it's a great point, Frankie, but it's like, I mean, like we talked about earlier with the Ravens and the Steelers and those teams that have the pipeline and can weather free agents leaving. I mean, look, the truth is the Ravens only have 2 Super Bowls in the last 20 years, but they've been competitive the entire time. You know what I mean? The entire
only
time.
3 coaches their whole career.
Yeah. It's crazy. So Jeremy, what do you think? You like you think JD's the guy?
Come
is a
on,
trick question.
we went over this a long time ago, right? What was the one thing I would say to JD if I saw him? You had me a hello and a big fat kiss. So
Yeah,
yeah, JD
that's
is the guy.
fantastic.
He's the real deal. I've said it since I think after that after the draft in 21, I think I said in the future we will look back and will be without question JD will have been the greatest GM in our history.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And obviously, it's early, but he's already done things that no other GM has done for us already. And I
I did that whole, remember I did that article a while back and we did a video on it where I actually went through the history of Jets general managers, went back, evaluated them, I graded them, just did their whole performance. And I got to tell you, I couldn't come up with one definitive great Jets general manager. Even like Weeb Eubank, who drafted very well, he would let a lot of guys go because great as a coach he was cheap. He was a complete cheapskate. That's one reason that team fell apart like it did. I mean, I can mention guys like Jim Kensel in the 80s. I can mention Parcells, but his drafts weren't exactly that great, and he wasn't around long enough. Yes, you can make an argument. There's a reason Joe Douglas asked for 6 years. He knew it the time it would take to turn it around. I wonder if you gave Joe Douglas a nice dose of truth serum, would he have expected this at the beginning of this season? I would
know,
love
right?
to know.
No,
I would
we're
love
ahead
to
of
know.
schedule. We're ahead of
I think,
schedule.
right. It's a great point. You know, I think we're ahead of schedule too, man. I mean, I don't think anybody could have imagined that. Like everybody's coming out of the gate hot. Like everybody. I mean, the whole fucking draft class. Max Mitchell came out. Okay, I'll start,
Yeah.
and he's even good. It's like this is just not what we're used to, man. And I think we're ahead of schedule. I'm telling you, dude. Yeah, even just like Mo Dean said earlier, you never know what's going to happen. If you got the momentum this year, ride it all the way. Just don't even consider that it's not your year that you were planning on next year. Just do it. And I think we can hang with anybody. So I think that's going to about do it, guys. I think that's, hey, the Riding the Bench guys. What's up? You guys know about the Riding the Bench podcast? These guys are great. They had me on maybe last week, 2 weeks ago, something like that. They're really good. They're funny. If you guys haven't followed them on Instagram, they're hilarious on Instagram, and the podcast is great. And one of the guys is an Eagles fan, so he's all happy. And the other guy, laughingly and hilariously, is a Colts fan who was, he's very nice, but he poked at the Jets last year, rightfully so. He wrote to me the other day. He said, "Looks like we're the Jets now." I said, "Yeah, that's what I was trying to tell you." So I'm happy you guys are here. Welcome. Those guys are great. The Riding the Bench podcast, everybody. If you're looking for pretty good listen, pretty good content, I think you guys mostly will. It's not Jets, but I think you guys will like it.
You have two more opposite ends of the spectrum right now than the Eagles and the Colts. Wow.
Yeah, I know. Right. Look, both of them at one point had it over me. I mean, the first time they had me on, guys, listen, I honestly thought that they were having me on as like a setup to try to to attack me, like try to beat me up as a Jets fan. I was ready. Like when we went on, I was ready for war. And they were wonderful. They were gracious and kind and loving, warm, Frankie. They were warm.
I actually have a Jets Colts trade in my mind.
Oh, talk about it.
Well, the question is, are the Colts doing a full rebuild? What are they doing? What are the Colts doing? Exactly. Does anybody know? Do the Colts fans know? I'd like to know. What
getting a position for a quarterback? Trying to get a
No.
quarterback?
No,
Well, because if they're going into a full rebuild, then you start to look at their roster and you say, who are their high-priced players that they don't really need in a full rebuild, that they may not want to hang on to, that might be useful for us to have? They might want some draft picks.
They might. So what do you think?
We would have to determine, can AVT be a really good right tackle for the rest of his career? That's a question.
Right tackle, huh?
Yeah.
Oh.
Would you want to solve right tackle with AVT? That would be a question.
I don't like it.
No. Well,
I
I
think-
wonder what John Benton would say. What
I
would
know.
John Benton say?
Which, by the way, can we just take a little second and appreciate John Benton? Right?
Yeah, really.
Hello.
Absolutely.
Holy
God for
shit,
that.
man. 5 tackles deep, 2 guards.
Amazing.
So I think optimally, ABT's at guard, right? But let's say you're doing your plan. I think if we're going to have ABT at a tackle position, I think it's natural to have him on the left side. We had him on the right. For whatever reason he got hurt, could be completely unrelated. I don't like it. It's something he never did. It's out of position. It's uncomfortable. It's weird. And we see the results. If we're going to do that, so you're talking about grabbing Nelson then, huh? That's what you want? So Justin, from the Riding the
Yes,
Bench
sir.
podcast.
Can I get a little cue on this? We need more cues, brother.
Vanity.
I was actually thinking, who else is there on the Colts we'd actually want?
That's the one. I mean, that dude is special. He's probably the second best guard in all of football. And he's going to be making money. So you might want to, get the cap savings, get some picks. And if AVT could play right tackle, the reason you want AVT at right tackle is because then next year coming in, we would have, we'd have Dwayne Brown, we'd have Mekhi Becton, we'd have Max Mitchell. And you say one of those is going to win left tackle, and maybe we draft one more just in case. And then if we had Nelson, we'd have an incredible line. I mean, now I don't know if that's going to work for them, but if you wanted, if they're breaking it down and they really need picks and what do they need? Quinn Nelson sitting there, the only guy on the whole line who can block anybody. What do they need him for?
All right, hold on. All right. Hey, Justin, I just sent you the link in your email. Come on, we're going to talk. I want to talk Colts with you. I got to know what the fuck a real Colts fan is thinking, because we've been talking about it. I was even talking about it a little bit with Jeremy earlier. I can't figure it out. No, I have my theories, right? But Justin, come on the show. I just sent you the link. All you do is click on it and you're on. I'm surrounded by you. Yeah, I know. Just come on, Justin. I just sent you the link.
We'll make room for you, Justin.
Frank, the scenario you just painted with the Jets getting Nelson is just disgusting for the rest of the NFL. Like,
oh my god,
let's just say it, guys.
It could happen. I know. That's why I thought of it, Jeremy.
Yeah, look at Mike Saunders. He says,
I like
Becton,
look at this line.
Best case, right? I would
we'll
love
draft the center.
Becton.
I still think we draft the center. I think
we could get Olowatimi in the third round. The kid out of Penn State, Olowatimi. We could get him in the third round. And he backs up. You sign McGovern, you back it up, and then,
Well, you know what? Well, think about this, though. A good question while we're waiting for Justin to come on. We'll bend his ear for a few minutes before we
do have Lakin. Mike
listen
Saunders.
To this.
Lakin's here.
So Frankie, and then I want to hear make this answer a little bit quicker. But you extending Connor McGovern, or are you going a different direction? What do you think?
The problem is there's no great centers in this draft. There are good ones. I probably would. He's been durable. He's average. You probably sign and draft. That's the way I'd look at it. Because he's durable. He plays. He's the captain of the line. Continuity. Get a kid in here to back him up. Let Feeney go. Get a kid in here like Olowatimi out of Penn State or somebody like that in the third round. Yeah, and I keep McGovern. But if AVT can play right tackle, you got Mike Saunders is forgetting Lakin. Lakin's here for 2 more years. What do we do with Lakin? Release him? Lakin's going to be here. So you got to have Lakin at left guard. That's the problem. But then Nelson will have to transition over to right guard for us. But of course he could.
Yeah.
And there are some good centers on the market. Mitch Morse is going to be a free agent from Buffalo, who's really
Williams
good.
ate his fucking lunch.
And he hadn't a lot of sack. I think he'd hardly a lot of sack all year. But then you've got the Garrett Bradburys from Minnesota, Bradley Bozeman. No. Austin Blythe from Seattle. And Rodney Hudson, who I think is like 55 years old.
No, those are not good options. And Mitch Morse is probably not getting to market. The Bills are not letting Mitch Morse go.
What about
Morse actually is good.
What about the kid who didn't come out of the draft? We thought he would.
Jared Patterson.
He's not even on the draft tech top 25, GreenBean.
Oh,
he's not?
No.
Yeah, he's having a rough season. He should have come out. He would have been a second round pick. High
So he's off the board. The kid there's number one is like the Ohio State kid, Wiley, I think his name is. And then there's this Oluwatimi kid who's young but is raw. So you draft him in the 3rd round and you develop him.
Yeah. They're good at that. So,
but I mean, there is but I don't think there's a Linderbaum or a Humphrey in this draft. I don't think, at least at this point, it's early, but I don't think there is that kind of a guy. So it's going to be like a 3rd round guy that you need to develop. So you sign McGovern for 2 more years, you develop the kid, you see what happens. But I mean, Quentin Nelson's going to be making $25 million, I think, next year or the year after. I mean, do they really want to be on the hook with a right guard or left guard for $25 million in a total rebuild? I don't know. Maybe they do. I don't know. But
I can't believe they don't even have Jarrett Patterson in the top 26 here. That's
they don't. I'm looking at the website also.
They have another Notre Dame center on the list, but not Patterson.
That's wild.
And like, admittedly, I haven't been able to. I shared it with you guys. I haven't been able to really keep up with college ball in any real meaningful way. It's like I'm like completely lost this year. I'm gonna have to do a whole shitload of back end work if I can. But I'm surprised. I mean, like, and that's the thing, like, these guys, sometimes when they choose to stay in school, they blow it. Like this guy,
I mean,
if he came
sign
out
him as a
year,
UDFA.
he would have been the number one.
I mean, he had
center.
talent at one point in time. He was highly thought of. Get him as a UDFA. Bring him on in.
Well, I mean, there was a couple centers, man. Like Lindstrom, there were a bunch of centers.
Alec Lindstrom. Oh, yeah. He's on a practice squad now.
He's on a practice squad. I'd fucking bring him in, man. But we'll see how it goes. But the thing is, Connor McGovern, like, look, maybe unspectacular. Maybe he's not the best in the world or anything. But like Frankie said, like, available, number one, durable, connecting with available, and he's fucking solid, man. I mean, you gotta remember, like, he's had revolving doors next to him for the past 2 years, man. I mean, how many guards have been playing next to him for the past couple of years? So I think he's definitely not the problem. You know what I mean? Definitely not the problem. And I think while you bring somebody up, maybe you use a second, maybe you use a 3rd round pick on a guy, 4th round pick even, and you keep, Connor McGovern here for 2 years and you bring the guy up and then you're good. Now, Dom C wants Ricky Stromberg. All right. So look, we're going to bring on Justin from the Riding Your Bench podcast, and we're going to ask him, we're going to get some answers on what the fuck is going on with the Colts. Look how good we are. Justin, how you doing, buddy?
Bean, how you doing, brother, man? I'll tell you caught me off guard. I was like in my bed, the lights were off. You know what I'm saying? I was having like a very intimate moment with you guys,
Right. So, well, I was surprised to see you in there. Right. It's a little late, man. I didn't know that you'd be available, but I'm happy because we've been tossing this around about the Colts. We don't know. We're looking from afar. This is your team, even though you live on Long Island. So you're one of us over there.
Sure.
But you're a Colts fan somehow. We don't got to get too into that. But so you got the inside track. You're actually paying attention on an intimate level. What the fuck is going on? So tell me, your overall first. What's going on over there?
Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, Bean, your guess from afar is absolutely as good as mine, if I'm going to be 100% honest with you. All right, let's be fair here. But we like the Jeff Saturday hire. Listen, for once, I know you guys are so used to you finally have a quarterback that could throw 150 yards and win a few games, right? So now you guys are on your high horse. We in Indy aren't used to this type of thing, all right? So we're dealing with it as we may. We're dealing with Sam Ehlinger right now, and we'll see what it is. I think we're probably tanking for a QB. That's what it feels like.
So you like the Jeff Saturday hire. How could you now, as opposed to some bumping up John Fox, bumping up any one of these guys from your staff, you think it's a better move, or do you think it's a tank move? Because that's what I'm kind of starting to think more and more.
Yeah, I kind of feel that's what it's like, but Jeff's personality has been absolutely fantastic. I feel wildly different about it now than I did initially when I was like reading it on my lunch break at work. So, and I apologize. I have a little NyQuil in me right now, GreenBean, so I'm a little, I'm a little on the tired side here.
That's okay. No, I know, man. This is what we call impromptu, man. You know what I mean? So It is what it is. We'll bend your ear for a few minutes to get some thoughts on the Colts. Don't worry. Nobody's judging you except the chat.
Except everybody in the chat. I have all these eyes on.
All 227 of them.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was a fan. A lot of Colts fans talking about maybe bringing up Reggie Wayne, Robert Mathis, two guys that were part of some of our greatest years. Generally speaking, I feel like when guys are promoted into that intern position from inside the staff, they don't get demoted back after the season. They get fired, right? So I kind of like that they went outside because I happen to like Reggie Wayne coaching the wide receivers. I happen to like Robert Mathis coaching the defensive line. And I don't want to lose that just because we felt the need to thrust them into a position. So I'm here with Jeff. I think when you have the line performing as bad as it's been performing, to have a guy like him, who's one of the all-time greats at the position on our team, I think is going to hold those boys accountable. And I think they're, according to reports, they're kind of feeling what he's doing so far. So,
yeah. Who's going to call plays for you?
Oh, geez. I'm going to tell you right now. I just learned the guy's name the other day.
The guy was making coffee 2 years ago. He was an assistant head.
That's how Adam Gase got his job.
Yeah.
We never called
Adam
play
Gase
in
is
his
available.
life.
Yeah, my buddy Jimmy's a big time Jets fan. He's like, dude, Adam Gase is available. I'm like, all right,
dude. I know somebody else said that. You know, they should hire Adam. I'm like, what are you fucking like? They were serious.
Well,
Like,
he'll get the number one pick next year if they hire him.
Well, there's that.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, there's a theory out there that Adam Gase actually has a very important role in the NFL. Is to go around and literally dismantle teams. Like that's his actual job. So maybe.
Listen, if that's
maybe the Packers hired him during the offseason and we just didn't know him. Maybe that explains the Packers' demise.
Oh goodness, I'll tell you what. I'm very happy to be here, but to hear Jets fans talk terrible about the Packers is, again, from an outside fan, comical. I'll be 100% honest.
Well, hey, fuck that, man. We don't get this, dude. We look.
It's what it is.
It's like letting like a kid who's from the streets. He's never, he doesn't know shit, and you bring him into like an upper class party. Like we don't know how to act. There's food there. Look, they're handing out free drinks. Holy shit!
But a wise man would say, "Act like you've been there before." That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see.
We don't know how to act like that. We're supposed to tip. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
No way.
It's like Eddie Murphy in Trading Places.
At least I see the awareness here. I see the awareness, so I'm okay.
Well, let me say this. The truth is this: if the NFL and at large and their fan bases treated us with any modicum of respect over the past 15 years, 40 years, then maybe we would act as if. Fuck that. We're going to come in like a bull in the china shop. We're going to destroy everything that we see on the way, and we're taking names and receipts. That's what we're doing.
Or recipes.
Can I ask a hypothetical though? Can I ask a hypothetical? Because there's a lot of talk. Again, I'm surrounded by it. What happens if you had those quick that Rex Ryan dynasty of how many years was that? Someone knows better than me. A few years, right?
What it was.
Rex. Okay, yeah. So Rex Ryan, great time, and then all of a sudden it fell apart right back. What happens? All this talking, you guys got to go back to the status quo. Are we going to pretend this didn't happen?
We're used to it.
No.
Very hypothetical.
Well, I know.
Life is normal. What's the problem?
Yeah, it's normal. That's the thing. That's the best
from failure. Thing. We're used to it.
That's the best thing. It's like other fans think, Justin, other fans think that they can actually like affect, like we, number one, we treat ourselves worse than anybody treats anybody from the outside treats us. We're brutal to each other. Secondarily, like if it all falls apart, it's just fucking what happens every year. It doesn't matter. So we're just riding the wave while it comes. If the wave dies out and we don't get another one, so be it.
You have a way of disarming me. I'll tell you. The people I associate tend not to be so humble about the situation. So I came in a little hot right now.
A little hot.
I'm a little hot right now because again, there's a lot of Jets talk going on. I kind of like seeing the misery. I'll be 100% honest with you.
Because it's what you're used to.
I think. Yeah, well, Justin, I think the NyQuil wore off already. That was fast.
Yeah, he's getting amped up. He's getting amped up. No, Justin, let me ask you, though. How old are you, if you don't mind me saying?
25.
So you're 25. So the last time that the Jets were good, you were 12 or 10, really. You were 10 years old.
That would be Rex's years, correct?
So this is the paradigm that's very comfortable for you. You're very used to it. You like having the Jets to kick. Like, and just like a lot of media, a lot of press, like they like it. It's a very comfortable place to have the lowly Jets sitting over there. We already know what they are. They wear a clown hat. They make some noise and nothing ever happens. It's going to be very uncomfortable when we are good, which happens every 10, 15 years. It happens for a little while. The rest of the NFL hates us. And that's what it is. That's why we're like this. So it's going to be very uncomfortable. It's coming. This is exactly what Jets fans have been hoping for fucking 20 years, an actual real life rebuild. You know what I mean? Like, we never do this, Justin. Like, this is
just think about Justin's life. Born around 1997, give or take a couple months.
Birthday is January 6th. If you want to come up with some gift ideas,
Yeah.
Yes, but they'll be very green, or in this case, black and white with a little bit of green.
I know, we're phasing out
all Justin can remember, Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck. Now that he has like Sam Ellinger as his quarterback, this is complete crisis mode. This is not a situation you're used to dealing with. So now that you don't have like a top 5 elite level quarterback, I mean, what's it like?
What's it like? Well, I'll tell you, it's interesting because unlike you folks over here, we do have a standard of greatness. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm in a situation like this, of course, it's a little bit uncomfortable, but I trust that my organization for the entirety of my life has kept me happy. I trust that with time, I'm in no position right now. Of course, bad time to be talking, right? I have that awareness. I understand.
Yeah.
But, I trust that we're on the right track here. I think the verdict is out. I want to see what Saturday does because I love his personality for it. We'll see how he coaches. But, I mean, he's open about the fact that, he doesn't know if he's going to be good or not. But I appreciate that honesty. So,
yeah. Well, you know what's interesting? Look, in all jokes aside, you should feel confident in your organization. Now, greatness, I don't know if I would go that far.
I mean, GreenBean, they've been in the top quartile of the top
of the
quartile.
upper quartile. Yes, we're the fourth most winningest team of the 2000s.
So that's
when there's a quartile, they're the top quartile within the quartile. You see.
Someone's been taking his notes on Jim Irsay. I love that.
Yeah, that's awesome. But that's an interesting thing to say because you have, even though it looks like a complete shit show, nobody even knows what's happening.
Yeah,
you still have that confidence that it's going to settle and it'll move forward in the right direction because that's been what's happened. But for the most part, Chris Ballard's a very, very good GM. So, and I mean, Irsay is erratic, but by and large, he's a good owner. You know what I mean?
Honestly, I love Irsay. He's like a discount Jerry Jones. I can't help but notice that someone is someone mentioning.
I like that.
And this is my thing. I know you gentlemen here, you're a class act, and I'm sure a lot of the people in the comments, great people. You got this guy talking about Joe Namath beating the Baltimore Colts in 1969. This is what I hate. This is what I hate to see. This is what it is.
Justin, let me say this in all fairness. Most of us, I can speak only for myself. Every Colts-Patriots game, I wanted Manning to kick Brady's ass. I would root for the Colts like they were the Jets when they were playing New England in those games.
Well, and in fairness, I'll root for the Jets in those situations as well at the time that the Patriots now the Patriots-Colts really no longer the thing anymore, right? So,
yeah. So, look, you're even inspiring a super chat, Justin. So let's see what this is. I think this is right to you. This is AbLab, and thank you, AbLab Studios, for checking back in. He says, this isn't a one-time thing, Justin. Rex, although great, was a rock star's kid. We have blue-collar Midwest killers running our squad now. So, that's another way to say what I was saying is that, like, even for us, like, we know the difference, man. Even like Todd Bowles, we had a bunch of mercenary, Brandon Marshall, Eric Deck. We had a bunch of guys that if they don't do it right now, it's over. And we knew that. This was not built to last. What we're doing now looks different than even during Rex. The Rex thing was very different. What we're doing right now is what we've been crying for decades, man. Like, just tear it down and rebuild it slowly the right way. Now, we don't always have the patience. We're nuts. We're damaged. We're PTSD. But this is different. This is different than what we're used to. And it's going to be ugly when we literally run the NFL. People aren't going to know how to handle it.
You take me all the way. You know what I'm saying? And then you say something outrageous like that.
See, I had it.
That's all right. Hold on. I like Douglas. I'm a Joe Douglas guy.
Right. Yeah. So are we. But it's good. So let me ask you this last thing, and then I'll let you go. We got to end this show. It's fucking 3.5 hours already. So as far as the Jeff Saturday thing, let's say hypothetically he doesn't put it all back together immediately. Do you think that he's legitimately got the potential of being a long-term hire, whether it's 3-4 years, whatever? Or is this like a kind of tank? He's just filling in till the end of the season and they're going to start fresh. If you had to guess, which one would you say it is?
Oh, if I had to guess, that's tough. That is very tough. Here's the thing: is that it's so hard because he has no experience. We have nothing to go off of with Jeff Saturday. This is what I'll maintain until I see him coach one game, just one, which will be this Sunday. I could change my opinion. I love his personality and his leadership intangibles. I think at the end of the day, the reason you have a staff is to figure out everything else. At the end of the day, I think your head coach has to be in charge of the locker room. And I think that's what Jeff Saturday brings. So I think if he's even remotely competent as a coach this year, I would at least like to see him get next year. That's how I feel.
Interesting. And Irsay might. I mean, he loves him. He might.
Irsay values relationships, maybe to a fault, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So, hey, guys, it is fun to watch a team that has been for most of the time, among the better teams in the league. So it's nice to see the mighty fall. Like we're watching it with Pittsburgh this year. That's delicious. I'd love to see the Patriots fucking crumble to pieces. But it's nice. So it's good to be on this side for now. We don't know. Next week it could all change, but for right now, it's nice. But Justin, I appreciate you popping on such short notice. I mean, that was as short as notice gets.
You caught me off guard. I appreciate you inviting me on. Of course, gentlemen, nice to meet you. I'll be waiting in the background for when the time comes. It may not be this year. It may not be next year. In fact, I may be 35, 40 years old. I may be Bean's age by the time it happens.
You'll find us.
I assure you, I will be back with a vengeance.
Right. And you might be able to grow a beard by then. I'm just
that is not in the cards, most likely.
Well, so here's the thing, right, man? And hopefully for us, it'll finally be not too long that people are going to start handing in receipts backwards. We've been eating receipts our whole life. So we're done with it. But Justin, from the Riding the Bench podcast, you want to tell anybody where they can find you real quick before you leave?
Yeah, I think right now our biggest platform, we're starting to get into the YouTube thing. That's why I was here. But right now, for those who are on Instagram, at the Riding the Bench podcast with a K instead of a C in the word podcast. If you go on there, pinned to the top of the profile is going to be a video of me and my buddy Asif making fun of people like you, Jets fans. You'll see.
There you go. And this is the last gasps of humor that the NFL and their fans are taking. Get them in now. Get him in now because it's over. But there he goes, Justin. I do recommend following him on Instagram. They're funny, man, and they commit to the gig. You know what I mean, Justin? You guys are committing, and I appreciate it.
We're going all in, man, and I appreciate the recognition for that.
Right
dude.
on.
I love you, buddy.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Critics out on the rest of you, but I love being.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on, man. It's good to see you, and we'll talk soon.
Absolutely.
Have a good night, Justin.
Good night.
There he goes, Justin from the Riding the Bench podcast. Him and his buddy. They're funny guys, man. I think you guys would like them. If you got a second and you're on Instagram, go over there and give them a little follow. Say hello. You can be mean. You can say whatever you like. You can take it. But yeah, let's look, Modine. Look at this. Great. See, figures. Modine loves him. That's good.
Because he's not jet related. That's probably why.
That's exactly what I'm right. Exactly. But so I think, it's going to be interesting though, man, to see how this goes. And of course, we dissect everything to its, to the molecular level, but I do think it is different. And I think that what he just brought is indicative of the entire NFL. They're used to it. They expect us to crumble. And when it doesn't happen, if this is real, guys, if this can actually stick, the entire NFL is going to be fucking miserable. And that is why I want this to happen more than anything. They deserve it. All of them. Raiders fans, Cardinals fans, fucking Pittsburgh Steelers, all of them, man. It's time that they all watch us take over the NFL. This is the beginning. I believe that. I believe it. We're going to crush
on marble. Marble
on marble. From the words of the great Von Miller, right from his lips. So, guys, let's end this show. Y2K, what's the next thing you got to tell everybody about?
Oh, man. So I've already posted my confidence picks for the week, but about 2 hours ago, I posted a video that I think is going to surprise a few people. I titled it The Overlooked Draft Class That Started to Change the New York Jets. And that draft class, it's not 2022. It's not even 2021. It's not even a class where Joe Douglas was the general manager of the Jets. Do I have your attention? Check out the video. That's all I'm going to say. But I got to tell you, I had a little bit of fun researching it. Found some very interesting things, just really emphasize how freaking good Joe Douglas is. That's all I'm going to tell you about it.
Exciting. So there it is. New York Sports Wicker Media on YouTube, everybody. That sounds like a good one. I'll check that out too. Jeremy, what are you doing for yourself?
The next thing I'm going to do is I think I might do a watch party for the Bills-Vikings game. I'm considering it. Just place where all Jet fans can get together and just root hard against the Bills. Another thing is we got a new show. I've recruited my brother, and we have this new show that we're going to run every week called Double Chaos. And we did a fun mid-season report card show, and it's just a little bit of fun, humor, but, serious Jets talk at the same time. Just us ripping and doing our improv thing together.
You know what you should say? Jets Chaos, serious humor. What do you think?
I like that.
Yeah.
Serious humor with pizza.
There you go. With food. There you go. Well, Jets Chaos, everybody. You guys know by now where to find them, but Jets Chaos on YouTube. That sounds like fun. I am going to take this week off and actually hang out with my fucking kids, I think, on Sunday. Why not, right? I'll watch some football, but I'm not going to do the live thing. I'll leave that to you. Frankie, what you doing, buddy?
Frankie from Flatbush Channel. Check it out. Videos. You know what it's all about. The Panthers won today.
I know. Dude, the interim coach, man. You got to get Matt Rule out of here. And Robbie Anderson, of course.
Looks like Dante Jackson tore his Achilles. So not good for Dante Jackson. Do you think the Panthers fans wanted them to win?
No.
But they did.
That's right. So that's the whole thing with these interim coaches. Like, he wants to come in and he wants to make some noise, man. You know what I mean? I mean, Wilkes, look, he got that 1 year in Arizona, and they fired him after giving him Josh Allen, right? No, Josh Rosen, right. They give him Josh Rosen as his top 10 pick. He had no offensive line, nothing, and they fire him, hire Cliff Kingsbury. Now Wilkes has got a shot to show the NFL, I'm worthy of a second look. He's going to blow up their draft dreams like nobody's business, especially in that fucking division. That division is garbage. You know what I mean? Overall,
what are they going to do? Jeez.
That division.
I just hope that Tom Brady and Todd Bowles, they won this week, but barely, and they lost to the Panthers. I just hope that they don't make the playoffs. Nothing would make me happier.
They're heading straight to the 4th seed, in my opinion, and they're going to play one of those NFC East teams in the first round. It'll be great to see them lose at home. I still love that Brady's last play as a Patriot was a pick 6 in the playoffs at home. I hope he has just as miserable an ending in Tampa Bay.
They may win 7 games and make the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what's bullshit. No,
they will.
You know what? Real quick, let me ask you guys this. Frankie, I'll start with you. Very, very, very quick. I know we just did the outros, but very quickly. Do you agree with the one team from every division should make the playoffs? So like the division winner, or should it just be the best fucking teams make it to the playoffs? Like, it happens all the time. It happened to us. We were 10-6 and we didn't make the playoffs. Wow. And then I've seen it one time years ago. The Niners were 11-5, and the Seahawks made it at 6-10. I think it was. So, like, what do you think, Frankie? Do you think they should change that, or
you got to think about if you did that, then divisional play becomes goodbye.
Exactly.
Division play means nothing, and the rivalries mean nothing. Like, isn't it great that we have these rivalries with the Patriots and the Dolphins and the Bills?
Division play? Why? Why does it diminish?
Because if there's no emphasis on the division, if it doesn't mean anything, and the best teams get in, then what's the difference if we beat the Dolphins or if we beat the Chiefs or if we beat the Chargers or if we beat? I think a
Because you
special
play 'em
emphasis.
twice a year, you still get the division. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know if I
Because
agree with that.
yeah, I like having the structure of a division where you have your rivalries. Like I like the rivalry with the Patriots, even though it hasn't been good for us. I'd like to get it back to where we could beat them. But the rivalry, the games against the Patriots and the Bills and the Dolphins are special and different because we're in the same division. So I don't know. I kind of like the divisional, even though
Yes.
sometimes, like this year, it's going to be messed up because of the NFC South. But that's rare anyway. So I think it's okay.
Yeah,
And it's
especially
usually just a
because we're
one-year
gonna
fluke
steal it.
anyway. Yeah, it's just a one-year fluke typically anyway. Usually somebody's always going to turn it around. I personally wouldn't change it. I like the 17 playoffs even instead of the 6. I like one bye instead of 2
me
because
too.
the
I like both of
competition for
those.
that one bye. Yeah,
Yep.
I think it was a good change. I liked when they went to 7 teams, although I wouldn't be surprised if the NFL tried to expand it and make it a 16-team playoff in the next couple of years. But I like the 14 just as it is. I wouldn't change it.
What do you think, Jeremy? You changing it?
I'm not good with change when it comes to that stuff. When I get used to things, I hate it. Like I still haven't gotten used to the fact that the Chicago Cubs are not a rival for the Mets in the division anymore. It still bothers me.
Don't get me
Yeah.
going.
It's a great rivalry.
It's like when
You know
we
what I
beat
mean?
the Colts out of the AFC East. I didn't get it.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
What is that?
great rivalry. I mean, look,
Yeah.
I like the way things are now. I don't want to go too crazy. I wouldn't want it to get too crazy because I hate when a weak team goes on a run like that. Like the whole Phillies in the World Series thing just rubbed me the wrong way because they happened to get hot at the right time. Clearly weren't. They were third best team in the division. I don't know. I don't want football to ever become like that. But then again, it makes the seasons more exciting when your team is still in it and you have that hope. So it's kind of like a balancing thing. But I like football the way it is right now. I wouldn't change anything.
It's just so funny. You know what? Remember when, I don't know if you guys remember, but when they instituted the bye week, I think it was in the 90s, maybe 80s. I remember people fucking freaking out about the bye week. And now it's bye week. It's not a big deal.
I bet there are people freaking out over the 2-point conversion when that came in too.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
totally. And then look, we saw obviously with the 17th game, there was a huge backlash. I think that one has a little bit more merit because of the toll on the bodies and stuff. And they didn't expand the roster. That's kind of what's weird. You expanded the season, but didn't expand the roster. I think that would be a good move. But I don't know, man. It bothers me. It really does. That teams that are 8-8, 7-9, or whatever the fuck, 8-9 or whatever, make it in. And then there's teams with 10, 11 wins that don't. I don't know. It rubs me the wrong way. It is what it is. We'll see how it goes. As long as the Skycam works, everything's going to be fine. Guys, don't forget to like the video before you leave. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please do right now. Jets Chaos, New York Sports, Wicker Media, and Frankie from Flatbush. We do appreciate it. I want to tell you, I put up the Dennis Bird clip from episode 90 of GreenBean's Jets Pod. If you guys haven't watched it, I made it short. I thought it was too important, at least for me, to be hidden in the podcast. So I just took it out. It's on my page right now. If you guys want to take a look, I cry and it's real. So there's that. Guys, that all said, this was a super long show, almost 4 hours. Which is not what we were aiming for. But I thank you guys for being here. With that all said, have a great night, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, here we come, baby. Here we come. Here come the Jets, man. I want to kiss you.
Thanks, Joe.
You want to run or you want to duck down? You want to duck, just go over and get onto the bench and stay there.
You play to win the game.
My message for the fans, we're all frustrated with where we are right now.
Jets, Jets, Jets.